Welcome, everyone. I'm at the radio station today, and we'll be live in, I don't know, 3.5 minutes or so on the air. Welcome. Okay. If you're new, this is where MAGA comes to talk. Move the camera just slightly. And a little bit more. There we go. A little better. Well, here's the thing. I was talking about this on the way. Like, my wife got me this. I don't know if any of you guys remember these. You guys remember Trapper Keepers? My wife got me a Trapper Keeper for all my commercial copy, which was pretty cool. Here's the thing, because somebody had asked me in the comments, well, who's the Republican running? It's Curtis Sliwa, who's the founder of the Guardian Angels, and he's not going to win.
Now of Coral Springs.
So that doesn't do us any good.
Find anywhere. No appointment, no prescription is needed, and you're in and out in 15 minutes or less. They offer every lab and blood work your doctor could order. They even have drug testing and STD testing. Take control of your health care and visit Any Lab Test Now of Boca and Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs. There's lots of Any Lab Test Nows around, but these are the only two advertising on our radio station. So don't use the rest. Only go to Any Lab Test Now of Boca and Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs. And make sure you tell them you heard about them on the radio.
Hello, this is Mike at Friendly Tire. I've been in business 30 years at the same location and offering great deals on new and used tires. I have many suppliers. Whatever car or truck you have, I can get you incredible deals on any tire. I also do tire repairs at very low prices.
All right, here we go.
Call. The number is 954-977-9445. I will give you a price over the phone.
Welcome, everyone. We will be live in seconds, and we got a lot to cover today, so stand by.
Thank you.
On the air since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Alrighty, it sure is. Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest running radio show. Hold on, I can hear the peas popping on the mic. I gotta put the pea pop. There you go. All right, a little behind the scenes you guys are getting. Put the pea pop. There you go. I don't hear the peas popping now. Welcome back from my pea popping expedition. My name is Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. On the radio since 1977. Celebrating, of course, 48 years on the radio. And we got a lot to cover today. I'm going to start with this god-awful New York City mayoral primary race. And DeSantis, Governor Ron DeSantis is running a scheme that, if you have the right ear, which I do, you heard him reveal yesterday. So we'll get into the scheme of DeSantis and a whole bunch more. But those are... I want to start with this mayor's race in New York City. And a lot of people will say, oh, what are you talking about New York City for? Who cares? It's local politics. The mayor's race of New York City, especially in this instance, this is not local politics. This is a national, not just national politics, it's the survival of the American way and Western civilization is yet again under attack. This guy that won, Zohran, is that his name, Zohran? He didn't just beat Governor Cuomo in the primary. He beat him by a lot. They had a poll out the other day that showed him 4 points ahead of Cuomo. He won by about 7 points, and he also won by 40. He won by a little more than 70,000 votes. Now that shows you, of course, that the people of New York City are stupid. Never underestimate the stupidity of Democrats. And we're all hands on deck to save not just New York City, but Western civilization. And in the last couple of days, there was a lot of panic, for a good reason, from Governor Cuomo's camp, Fredo's brother, Andrew. And they were putting out liberal code words, okay? But everybody knew what it meant. If he wins, he's going to turn New York City into London. And we all know what's happened with the fall of London, which we'll talk about as I go on with this. Cuomo, you know, this is bad. This is bad. I mean, he's not just a Democrat socialist. He's a radical lunatic who said on a recent interview that if Netanyahu came to New York City, he would have him arrested. Okay? I mean, this is not just a radical Democrat. Here we are 24 years after 9/11. This guy would change New York City forever, and so goes New York, so goes the country in so many ways. All right? So this is not like AOC's best bud just won the Democrat primary. And so he is the Democrat nominee. There's no doubt about it. And I'm going to go through in a few minutes his background, because no one knows anything about this Zohran guy. No one really took him seriously. The last couple of days he's been all over the news, and people have been getting worried about it, and I understand. And you know, waking up to this sucks, okay? But I'm here to tell you something that will sound crazy to some of you, and some of you won't like this. Mayor Adams is running for re-election as an independent. Everyone's got to get behind Mayor Adams. Everyone's got to get behind Mayor Adams. This is a non-partisan issue, okay? There are not many things in America that are non-partisan these days, but this is one of them. And Mayor Adams, who's running as an independent, everyone needs to get behind him. And when I say everyone, I mean Republicans, Democrats, independents, whoever you are, you got to get behind Mayor Adams. It's all hands on deck. And I know some people will say, well, what about the Republican? The Republican's a joke, okay? Curtis Sliwa. Now, we all like Curtis Sliwa. He is the founder of the Guardian Angels, and he's, you know, I'm not saying that Curtis Sliwa is a bad guy, but as a candidate, he's a joke. This guy's been running for New York City mayor for as long as I can remember. He has no chance of winning. So getting behind someone who's a Republican that has no chance of winning, you might as well back Zohran here, okay? It's the same thing. You got to get behind a candidate that can actually win. And the only one that has a chance, Curtis Sliwa does not have a chance. In fact, if Curtis Sliwa wants to show that he really cares about New York City and is not just trying to keep himself in the news, he would endorse Mayor Adams, who, by the way, Mayor Adams, he may be corrupt. Hey, this is New York. They're all corrupt. But he's done the right thing with the illegals up there, hasn't he? This is important. I mean, getting behind someone, I might as well run for mayor of New York. If Curtis Lee was running, you can't get behind someone who has no chance of losing, of winning. If you get behind someone, oh, well, they got an R next to their name, and I'm standing up for principle. Well, all right, you know, you're going to go down with the ship. Who would you rather have as mayor of New York? Curtis Sliwa, it will not win. It is hopeless for Curtis Sliwa to win, all right? I like Curtis Sliwa. Steve had a history with Curtis Sliwa. When Steve was on the air in New York and they took him off the air, they replaced him with Curtis Sliwa. So I don't know if there's any friction with Steve and Curtis Sliwa. But when I was a kid, Curtis Sliwa was, I mean, he was a big deal. Remember they made the TV movie about him? About how he saved New York and all that stuff. And we used to have this weirdo listener, Ron. Oh boy, I hope he's not listening. But I haven't seen Ron for a few years. And he was a guardian angel. Anybody remember Ron, the guardian angel? He used to come to our appearances, and his guardian, he was like an 80-year-old man, about 5'2", and he wore the red beret and everything, and knew kung fu and all that stuff. There's no way for Curtis Sliwa to win, all right? So forget about the guy with the R next to his name. That's ridiculous. You know, I remember back in the days when Cemetery Village in Broward County, you know Cemetery Village, Mike? It's what we called Century Village. Century Village is a big retirement community that has like 50,000 Democrats in it in Deerfield. And there was this guy, Trinchatella, who was the Democrat party boss. He thought he was Boss Tweed over there, and he would decide who won every office in Broward. Remember that in Cemetery Village? And we used to have we'd get calls on the air from Cemetery Village. That's what we called Century Village. People would get very upset at us calling it Cemetery Village. There was an article in the Sun Sentinel once, and I remember this line. I can't remember who wrote this, but was it Buddy Nevin? One of the writers from the Sun Sentinel, he wrote, it might have been the Miami Herald. I can't remember if it was the Sun Sentinel or the Miami Herald. They said every time an ambulance leaves Century Village, the Democrat Party loses another voter, right? And we used to talk about Cemetery Village, and we'd get these calls from, how dare you call us Cemetery Village? I'm retired here, you know. And we would talk to these people. They would, and it was at the time, I don't know what the breakdown is now, but it was a pretty large Jewish population over there. And they would vote for these anti-Israeli Democrats. And we would tell these callers, when they would call in from Cemetery Village, you would vote for Adolf Eichmann if he had a D next to his name on the ballot. And that's true. So you don't want, and that's how a lot of Democrats are. So you don't want to vote for Curtis Sliwa. And let me tell you, we have a lot of listeners to this program in New York City. In fact, on our online stuff, because I keep track of this stuff, I just don't talk about it that much. We have more listeners in New York City than anywhere else in the world outside of the state of Florida. That's our number 2 market on this program. Okay, so I want to hear from our New Yorkers up there. You don't want to vote for someone just because they have an R next to their name and they're going to lose. You're going to give the city over to Zohran? So when we get back, I'll get into more of this, and I'm going to share with you Zohran's bio, which is insane. It's insane. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. Our number is 888-465-2631. I do want to hear from some of our New Yorkers out there, both the ones that are currently there and the ones that have transplanted themselves to South Florida. This is sick stuff. And I want to ask you this before we break. On September 12th, 2001, if I would have gone on the air and told you that in 2025, this guy Zohran was going to win the Democrat primary for the mayor's office of New York City, you would have told me I was nuts. That would never happen. Well, it just happened. All right, 1-888-465-2631. I want to talk about Dr. Philip Appleton. You know, if you've been in a car accident or any type of accident, slip and fall, listen up. Okay? You know, I was talking yesterday about my car accident where I was almost killed by this lunatic girl. Yeah, I remember she was from Peru. I wonder if she was documented. She sure didn't want me to call the police. Well, you know. But if you've been in a car accident or any type of accident, and by the way, that also means if you've been in an Uber or a Lyft accident, a lot of people are getting in car accidents with ride sharing, and you're in pain, go see Dr. Appleton. All right? All that pain that you have from car accidents, and it's a lot. It's painful. The day after, boy, oh boy. And the day after, forget about it. You can be in a lot of pain without having broken bones. You can still be in a lot of pain. You got the neck, you got the chest. You know what causes you a lot of pain? That seatbelt. Because you tense up when the accidents happen, and your body's tensed. You get that impact. You're hurting all over. Well, Dr. Appleton's laser wave pain treatment works on all of that. And remember, it's drug-free, injection-free, okay? Completely painless, and appointments are not necessary with Dr. Appleton. He's rid me of pain 7 times. And that first time for the knee, I was thinking about this the other day because I couldn't remember what happened that caused me to develop this knee pain. And then I remembered as I was talking about Dr. Appleton yesterday, I think that was caused from my car accident that I was in. You know, you slam on the brakes, you tense up, and you push your foot forward. It was my right knee, my right foot, and boom, I think that's what did it. I was in another car accident when I was the passenger, and I tensed up, and I think that's what happened there. Give Dr. Appleton a call. Remember, appointments are not necessary. Walk-ins are welcome, even on Saturdays. If you have x-rays or scans, bring them with you. Dr. Appleton will gladly look them over. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. We'll be right back.
Sit on the side. Reaction. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-GO-KANE-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Hey, it's Radio reminding you that your favorite oldies are back on the air right after 10 a.m. this morning, right here on the True Oldies channel.
When it comes to dental work, there's no one better than Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. But don't just take my word for it. This is Richie the bus driver. He called in on the air to share his experience with Dr. Gupta. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Richie, Dr. Gupta. I go 139 miles to this guy. I had a broken tooth. He fixed it. It was supposed to be temporary. It lasted 2 years.
I
He put
don't.
dentures in my mouth that are a lot cheaper than anybody else. And he's excellent and no pain. I recommend this guy. To me, he's the best ever. So I want to get that out of the way.
Listen to Richie the bus driver. Go see Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. 954-922-4633. 954-922-4633. At Sloman's Home Security, we understand that you want to feel secure in your own home. That's why we're dedicated to providing top-notch security systems and services to keep you and your loved ones safe. From 24/7 monitoring to cameras and motion sensors, our state-of-the-art technology helps you stay ahead of potential threats. Rest easy knowing you're protected by Sloman's Home Security. Imagine coming home to everything just as you left it. Imagine knowing that your family is safe and secure thanks to Sloman's Home Security. Don't just imagine it, make it a reality. Contact Sloman's Home Security today, right here in Florida, to schedule a free consultation and take the first step towards a safer, more secure tomorrow. Sloman's Home Security, protecting what matters most. Sloman's Home Security. Call 1-833-283-5050. That's 1-833-283-5050. Or visit our website at slomans.com. Don't wait. Get the peace of mind you deserve today.
Are you tossing and turning every night? That means you're not sleeping on a MyPillow. Brian Craig here. You've heard me talk about the MyPillow for years. And if you haven't tried it yet, what are you waiting for? You spend a third of your life sleeping. Do it right and order your MyPillow. Right now, they're just $17.98 with our promo code KANE at checkout. KANE at MyPillow.com. At this low price, you can afford to get a MyPillow for every bed in your home. You can also order by phone. 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Take advantage of these low prices and stock up right now.
This is Mark Laporta, son of Tom Laporta and proud second-generation owner of Laporta Roofing. As a military veteran who served in the Army after 9/11, I've brought the same dedication and discipline to our family business. At Laporta Roofing, we've been serving our community for nearly 4 decades, and we're committed to continuing that legacy of excellence. Our team specializes in all types of roofing systems, from shingles to tile, slate, metal, and flat roofs. We're the go-to experts for single-family homes, HOA communities, and condo associations. What sets us apart is our unwavering commitment to customer satisfaction. I've personally implemented systems to ensure you receive the best in customer service and workmanship. Don't miss out on our limited time offer for a free roof inspection. Call us now at 954-604-4602 or visit us at laportaroofing.com. Trust the experts who have been protecting homes like yours for generations. Again, that number is 954-604-4602.
Now back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, hear us in Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the world at TrueOldiesFLA.com.
Alrighty, callers on hold, stand by. So we're talking about Zohran, this Muslim guy who just won the Democrat primary in New York City. It's all hands on deck. Our only hope, I know this is so crazy to say, but our only hope to save New York City is Mayor Adams, who's running as an independent. Now, this Zohran guy won for a number of reasons, and I'll tell you why that is. One, Andrew Cuomo is just an arrogant guy. That's part of it, right? You know, people don't remember his dad, Mario Cuomo. His dad, Mario Cuomo, when Ronald Reagan was the president, was the Democrat foil to Ronald Reagan, okay? And Ronald Reagan was trying to defeat the Soviet Union, which he did by having a massive military buildup in the United States. And Mario Cuomo, he thought he was going to be president. He never got the nomination. He was the governor of New York. And anytime Ronald Reagan said anything, Mario Cuomo wasn't just some pundit in a screen on television, because we hadn't entered that 24-hour news cycle. He would have a rally or a speech with hundreds and thousands of people showing up, screaming about Ronald Reagan. He was a big freaking deal. And he gave this keynote at the DNC, and we don't need another missile. We need to, whatever, and all this stuff. He was a big deal, Mario Cuomo. And Andrew Cuomo has coasted through his political career on daddy's name and connections. And the problem with that is no one really remembers him that's any younger than me. And I was just a kid when Mario Cuomo was around. So the Cuomo family, they're just, the name doesn't mean what it used to mean, okay? The other thing is, this guy, Zohran, he probably has the same people working on his campaign, if not the same people just like them, that worked on AOC's campaign. I remember when AOC ran for the first time for Congress, she had an internet social media campaign, which is what Zohran did. She was very good on camera. She did this Mary Tyler Moore thing where she had an Instagram campaign. They would always show her like walking off a subway, but she was always looking to the side. She'd have one of her legs up like she was walking. It was a big pose thing. And no one took her as a serious candidate till it was too late. Zohran here, he's very good on camera. He's handsome, at least with the beard. He probably, if he took the beard off, By the way, is that beard for religious reasons? It's people need to know. But he's good on camera, he's handsome, and he ran an internet campaign. Andrew Cuomo, not just his arrogant, well, I'm Cuomo, the people that are running his campaign are old-timers that still have VCRs in their house, like the people that ran the Hillary campaign. So he came in with his arrogance. Don't you know who I am? I'm Andrew Cuomo. And he has these old-timers who are using old campaign tactics that don't work anymore. And he got whooped. That's it. That's it. So Zohran here, if you're on hold, hang in there. This is in his Wikipedia, okay? And he's 33 years old, born in Uganda in 91. Uganda? Which is more third world, Uganda or where Ilhan Omar's from, Somalia? If you had to live in either Uganda or Somalia, which one of those two places would you want to live? He was born in Uganda, came to the United States, graduated from, is that Bowdoin College? In 2014, it goes on. His father, Mahmoud, is a Ugandan post-colonial studies professor at Columbia. So don't let anybody tell you this is some poor kid from the slums of Uganda. a post-colonial studies professor at Columbia University. Well, first off, Columbia University is, well, since it's New York City, what the heck? It's ground zero for radical Islamists. That's where Mahmoud went. He gets out of jail and he goes to there and starts ranting about the Jews. Right? You saw that yesterday? And this post-colonial studies professor, when is the last time you heard someone talk about post-colonial? You know who that was? Barack Hussein Obama. That was his big thing. He was an anti-colonialist. His mother is a filmmaker. Lived in South Africa for a while. It goes on about his musical. He had a music career. He was a hip-hop producer. Okay. He's got a long resume, but let's get into his politics. And let me go down into his politics, okay? Zohran started to consider himself a democratic socialist after Bernie Sanders' 2016 presidential campaign, and he's a member of the Democratic Socialist of America. Right there is the giveaway. AOC. AOC became a democratic socialist inspired by the 2016 campaign of socialist Bernie Sanders. Now, the great Andrew Dice Clay, you guys know Andrew Dice Clay? I can't tell his jokes on the air. They're very good. But he used to tell this one joke about guys who were gay but afraid to come out of the closet. This was like in the 90s. And he was talking about guys that would say they're bisexual. And he said, there's no such, you're gay, okay? It was a joke. It's funny. I'm not going to tell the joke. And I agree with that because back then you couldn't be out like people are now, right? But democratic socialists are communists that are afraid or smart enough not to come out of the closet. Ronald Reagan said, before he was president, and he was doing in the 60s, he was going around the country making conservative speeches, warning Americans of communism. He said Americans would never vote for a socialist. By the way, this was a quote from one of the founders of the Communist Party, Socialist Party of the United States. Maybe I'll find it online. I don't have the clip queued up, but it's a famous quote. Ronald Reagan, and he said this many times, Ronald Reagan, he says Americans would never openly vote for a socialist. But if you call them a Democrat, and they'll vote for every last tenet of the socialist platform. And that is even true today, okay? So a democratic socialist is like a bisexual guy who's really gay. A democratic socialist, there's no such thing. That is communism, okay? That is communism. So Zohran is a communist. There's no such thing as a democratic socialist. That is a big lie. They are communist. Now, if you're on hold, hang in there. I'm going to take our break for the bottom of the hour. And when we get back, we'll finish up with Zohran here. And we got a lot more to cover, all right? You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll take our break and be right back.
Making morning radio great again. I think you're gonna really love it. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
This Wednesday morning, throughout the day, shower and likely and thunderstorms likely with a high of 84 degrees. In the evening, a chance of thunderstorms in the low of 80 degrees. On Thursday, a high of 84 degrees can be expected. Showers likely and then thunderstorms. Into the evening, a chance of thunderstorms and the low of 81 degrees.
Weather brought to you by Kalea Pain Relief Cream. Is pain robbing you of your quality of life? If you answered yes, you have to try Kalea Pain.
Oh, my goodness.
Pain Relief Cream relieves arthritis, joint, and muscle pain better than anything you've ever tried. Kalea. Get back to doing what you love. Now available in your local public supermarket in the pharmacy section. And now, a True Oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club. Watch for construction.
Unbelievable, guys. if you're new to the program, make sure you subscribe. If you're on hold, hang in there.
Spot something on the roads, call the traffic tip line. Pound 250 keyword West Palm traffic on the offers.
Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. PBKC is your entertainment destination with poker, OTB, table games, exceptional eats, and exciting events. The poker room is open daily for cash games,
Oh boy.
amazing promotions, and easy to play table games. See and bet on the best OTB action.
Yeah, I saw some people talking, making fun of my van. I have been wearing checkerboard Vans since like '87, maybe even before. I mean, Fast Times was what, '83? So I've probably been wearing checkerboard Vans since like '84 or '5. And the reason I wear them is I have a curved spine. And as I get older, well, I like them, first of all, you know, shout out to the 80s with my Vans. But I'm an 80s guy, you know, with my Vans and members only jacket. And my wife got me this, my Trapper Keeper, to keep all my commercial copy in. So I'm a retro kind of guy. But I have a curved spine, and as I get older, it becomes more and more curved. And I'm like an inch or so shorter than I used to be because of my spine curving more as I get older. And I've tried every shoe there is, and Vans are the only shoes I can wear. Vans and that I don't have back pain and can walk all day and stand all day and not have any back pain from my curved spine. Plus, they're cool. So, you know, I'd be wearing them anyway. But Doc Martens too, but Vans are better for my curved spine.
$09.99 and online at JupiterJoe.com.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 48 years on the air.
All righty. My name is Brian, Steve Kane Show. Call us on hold, stand by. You know, some people that are watching online on YouTube, some people are making fun of my shoes. You know, it's so amazing. Could you imagine what it would be like for you to go to work every day and have thousands of people not only watching you while you're working, but critiquing everything you do? Isn't that nice? You know, it's wonderful. I'm used to it, whatever. But I'll take a call or two. But I want to get back to Zohran, who this is all hands on deck. I am telling you that our only hope to save the city of New York from turning into Londonstan, is to back Mayor Adams. He's running for re-election as an independent. Curtis Sliwa was the Republican. That's a joke, okay? Curtis Sliwa is not going to win, all right? Let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, good morning, Brian. Chris from Pompano Beach.
Hey, Chris.
Wow, what a show. You've only been on, 30 minutes, and you said a mountain full? Wow. Before I get into the horror that's New York right now, because I'm a transplant from 30 years ago. I came down in 95.
Yeah.
Married in 96, and I raised my kids there. That's why I want to talk about Trinchetella just for a second before I get back into New York.
People forget about Trinchetella. That Trinchetella, he was the big Democrat party boss in the whole state of Florida. And Democrat presidents would go and kiss his ring at Century Village on a very regular. I went there once. I met President Clinton. President Clinton flew in on Marine One just to kiss the ring of Trinchetella.
100%. I don't know if you remember Robert Wesley, the guy that didn't represent us, didn't even live in the district for 10 years. You know what he said? He said, when I decided to run for office, I did two things. Once I told my wife and talked with her, then I went to Trenchy.
That's right, Trinchetella, yeah.
I knew him well because not that I lived near Century Village in Deer Run, but my wife was the city clerk, and she worked with the commissioners. And yeah, he was. This guy was the real thing.
He was a monster. He was really It was a monster over there. Big celebrity. Yeah, they have a road. The road on Hillsborough. If you pass by the entrance of Century Village on Hillsborough Boulevard, you'll see Trinchetella Boulevard or something's the name of the road. That's who it's named after, the Democrat Party boss. But luckily, the Century Village used to be to Democrats in Florida what the Villages is to Republicans now.
Right, yeah, and they tell you, yeah, Trench, I got back memories. Wow, I lived there 22 years, just outside of Century Village in Deer Run, but I remember him well.
Yep.
New York, oh my goodness. You know, and you have everything right in the head before it becomes London style, because that's their playbook. I mean, you just ran down everything from his bio, his father, Columbia University, and all that. And America's founded, thank you, Barack Obama, for, you know, because, you know, he's a Muslim sympathizer himself. He was raised Muslim. But they're going to be loyal to that. And they want to tear down this country. And the socialism part that you mentioned, I was just saying, just before you said that, Democrats really have to understand that people attach themselves to the Democrat Party just to tear down this country. And
I mean, you know, well, I mean, could you imagine? Let's just say Honolulu, Hawaii, electing a Japanese mayor in 1965, which is the same span as we have now between 9/11. I mean, you know, to have this, I'm going to ask this question. This is a serious question. If New York City, 24 years after 9/11, elects a Muslim mayor, did we lose the war on terror? Did Al Qaeda win? Have they? Is that you know, what does that mean? What does that say?
Yeah, and the sad part, they don't realize it. I mean, my buddy Jimmy and I talk about that all the time. You put a D next to her name. You said it earlier. You put a D next to that name, that candidate, and those that I told us.
And I'll tell you, the Zohran in New York is the same sect of Muslim that the Iranians are. You know, they have the Sunni and the Shia. The Shia, he's Shia, which is what the Iranians are.
Yeah, we know that where there was, you got to be guys, you know, that even join the military. And that's what I always say, our downfall in the U.S. is that it's not unusual for anybody from anywhere in the world to not just live here, but work here and in key occupations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, goodness, from shooting up army bases and turning grenades on there.
And his dad being a professor at Columbia, which is where all these terrorist Iranian activists are based out of, all these spies that Iran has over here at Columbia. Hey, listen, I appreciate the call. You made some good points. All right, now let me get back. Now, this is Zohran, who just won this Democrat primary in New York. If you're on hold, hang in there. Okay, so he's a democratic socialist, which is undercover communist. He supports universal pre-kindergarten and has proposed giving all New York City families baby baskets containing products such as diapers and nursing supplies. He introduced a bill to eliminate New York University and Columbia's state property tax exemption, and direct those funds to the City of New York system. So he wants more money. But this is when it gets even worse, okay? He's argued that increased policing and incarceration do little to prevent harm, and that dignified work, economic stability, and well-resourced neighborhoods better create public safety. So he doesn't want to arrest criminals or put criminals in jail. He says that doesn't prevent crime. When a criminal's in jail, they can't do crime. So he wants to increase crime in the city of New York, is what he's doing. He's advanced, this is all in his Wikipedia, he's advanced a community-based approach to reducing crime, focusing on homeless outreach and anti-violence programs, and contends that there's too much reliance on police to fix societal problems, saying police have a critical role to play, but right now we're relying on them to deal with the failures of the social safety net of reliance that is preventing them from doing their actual jobs. He's proposed a Department of Community Safety to expand mental health outreach. So that, that nonsense. He's advocated capping rent increases. Isn't that nice? You own a property, you own a rental property, and then he wants to come in and say you can only charge this much for rent. You know how rent works in Florida? Whatever the market will accept is what you get for rent in Florida. And that's how it should be, whatever people are willing to pay. Can you imagine? This is communism. Remember Dr. Zhivago? Dr. Zhivago comes back home to Moscow after the communist revolution, and he's got the Soviet party boss from his street has moved in like 20 families into his house and says, "You've got too much housing, Dr. Zhivago." This is Dr. Zhivago right here. He wants to strengthen tenant protections, so he wants to have the government take over people's private property that they're renting out. He wants to create a social housing development agency to build more publicly owned affordable housing. He wants to raise the minimum wage in New York City to $30 an hour, increase corporate taxes from 7.25% to 11.5%, supports an increase in taxes on the city income tax. You know, a lot of people outside of New York don't know this. In New York, if you live in New York City, you've got federal income tax, you've got state income tax, and you've also got city income tax. Oh my goodness. He wants to raise the city income tax. He wants to make college free. Oh yeah, he hates Jews. He supports the terrorists that, just like that Mahmoud guy that just got out of the lockup. Oh my goodness. Let's see here. He's liberal. Oh yes, he believes children without parental consent should be able to get sex change operations. I mean, this guy, his purpose as mayor of New York City is not to make New York a better place or life better for the people in New York. His purpose as mayor of New York City, Zohran, would be the same as these Iranian spies at Columbia, of which he has a connection to since his daddy is a professor there. That is to bring about chaos and collapse and the fall of the United States. He wants to become the mayor of New York, not to make New York City better, but to begin its collapse. My goodness. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Rich in Coral Springs.
What's up, Coral Springs?
Hey, I just want to say keep up the good work. Don't let all these people screaming you for your shoes, your shirts, your hats.
Oh, that's fine. Who says they got me down? You think I care about that?
No, I don't think you do. That's why I'm saying keep it up and just keep strong. That's it. Do it.
All right, I appreciate it. All right, take care appreciate it from Coral Springs. Okay. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. We're going to take our last break of the first hour, and I want to talk to those of you out there that are suffering from neuropathy. This is an amazing thing with Lighthouse Medical in Pompano. They can help you with your neuropathy no matter where you're located in the United States, by the way. So when I give out this number, no matter where you're located, give them a call. Mention you heard them on the Steve Kane Show. Because Steve Kane listeners, you get a free consultation. They don't do that with other people because they just there's only so many hours in the day, right? But they do that for us and for our listeners. But if you can't make it in, they can do all this over the phone as well. I was telling someone yesterday that any advertiser here on the Steve Kane Show, either I use them, Steve uses them, or we both use them. And in this instance, Steve, we found Lighthouse Medical out of necessity. Steve had neuropathy like you couldn't believe. He couldn't get out of bed. And it was pretty bad. And we had our cruise coming up. And Steve's like, I don't know. I can't get out of bed. How am I going to go on a cruise? And I found Lighthouse Medical, actually. Did some research. Steve went to his doctor. The doctor told him there's nothing you can do. He begged him to give him a referral to a neurologist, a specialist. Steve went to a neurologist, and the neurologist said, this is your life now. Go home, get used to it. Get back in bed. You'll get used to it after a few years of suffering, And we found Lighthouse Medical. And Steve had that first treatment either on a Thursday or a Friday. I can never remember which it was. I think it was on Thursday because I didn't hear from Steve on Friday. And I was like, well, what's going on? So I called Steve on Saturday morning, and I said, well, how'd it go? And he says, I'm already getting relief from my symptoms. My neuropathy symptoms are already going away. I couldn't believe this. This was either the day after or 2 days after his first treatment at Lighthouse Medical. And then after a very short time, all of his neuropathy symptoms disappeared and they have not returned. Steve had that treatment 3 years ago this month. So Lighthouse Medical, their neuropathy treatment not only works, it lasts. Steve had his treatment 3 years ago in this month. I don't know which day this month, but it was this month. And I remembered, I've been trying to rack my brain about this, and Steve and I had something going on, and I went and looked up when that was, and boom, it was in June. So here we are, 3 years, his neuropathy symptoms are gone, and they have not returned. It is amazing. Get your life back. A lot of people take their spouse or mom or dad or grandma and grandpa over, okay? Call for your suffering spouse, mom, dad, or grandma and grandpa too. Here's the number, 754-222-6642. 754-222-6642. And online, lighthousemedicalcenter.com. We'll be right back.
Hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
Just because you're getting older doesn't mean you have to feel older. At the Bio Station at West Conway, Dr. Mitch Matez, an expert in hormone replacement therapy, is here to help you reclaim your youth. Hormone replacement therapy is all natural and can restore your hormones to where they were in your 20s. You'll feel younger, have more energy, and even get your sex drive back. And for women, hormone replacement pellet therapy can completely stop and reverse the signs and symptoms of menopause. No more mood swings, better sleep, and no more night sweats. Call Dr. Matez for a free consultation today at 561-320-8893. That's 561-320-8893.
Hey, my true oldies listeners, John Tesh here with some intelligence for your retirement this time. When you're looking for a retirement advisor, you know trust and experience are two big qualities to look for. And as it turns out, my friend Jupiter Joe Thomas possesses both of these. Whether you're in retirement or looking to retire, I want you to give local expert Joe Thomas a call. Here's the number, 561-743-0999. Or, even simpler, you can go to jupiterjoe.com. Mention my name, John Tesh. You'll receive a free copy of Joe's book, Retirement Know-It-All. Great book. Call 561-743-0999. Or remember, go to jupiterjoe.com. That's jupiterjoe.com.
When it's time to check in with Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group, I just want to tell those of you in the audience how we met Attorney Barry Siegel years ago. What Barry is talking about here is having your documents reviewed, which the Siegel Law Group will do at no charge. Steve had found he had a revocable living trust done many years before we met you, Attorney Barry Siegel, and found that Steve's trustee was no longer living. Steve had had a whole bunch of grandchildren born that had not even been conceived when he had that trust done, and there were some divorces that took place and remarriages and everything. What would have happened with Steve Kane's family if he passed away and his trustee was dead and all these people were cut out because they weren't even alive when he put the trust together?
It would have been a mess, first of all. Any issues with the beneficiaries, that would just be a total mess there.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's why it's so important to review your estate plan, because you may have done something that made total sense years ago, but then things change. In this case, many things, including the trustee who was no longer living, and there was only one trustee.
Oof. It's not unusual, Attorney Barry Siegel, for ex-spouses to inherit, even when someone maybe even remarried, because people don't update these documents. That happens quite often, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, and that can happen in a couple of different circumstances. One, we see this sometimes where people don't even realize that their ex-spouse is their main beneficiary in their documents. They need to change that. And then, of course, the whole issue with the ex-spouses of our beneficiaries and the importance of having bloodline protection in your documents so that your assets don't end up going to your child's future ex-spouse.
Give Attorney Barry Siegel a call, toll free, 855-FLA-3782. 855-FLA-3782.
Do you suffer from neuropathy? I did, until I went to Lighthouse Medical Center in Pompano. Numbness, pain, burning, tingling in my hands and feet. muscle weakness, loss of balance, muscle twitching have all but disappeared. Say goodbye to your neuropathy symptoms. Call Lighthouse Medical Center for a free consultation. 754-222-6642.
We take on the social justice warriors for breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show is...
All right. You know, by the way, you're listening about Steve's... I am Steve's trustee now, and one of his kids is really pissed off about that, actually. One of them called me and said, are you the... I didn't know. Steve, they didn't ask me. They just made me the trust. They didn't ask. Fine. I'm the trustee on some other trusts, too. I'm a trustworthy kind of guy, I guess. But... oh, my goodness. All right. Our number, 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Ralph. I'm from Tupelo.
All right. Where's Tupelo?
Mississippi.
Oh, okay. Mississippi. Okay, yeah, Tupelo, Mississippi. I've never heard someone say Tupelo. I've only heard Tupelo, Mississippi. So when you dropped the Mississippi, it didn't ring a bell. What's on your mind, Mississippi?
Well, I was watching the news this morning, and just a few minutes ago, there was a news break come through. Said you're fat.
Really? Wow. So this is interesting. So you mean to tell me that the news thinks it's worthy of breaking in to report, well, I guess in this case it'd be fake news, but report things on my sexual preferences? Oh, he hung up. I did not hang up on that guy. That was interesting. Wow. I'm excited. I've hit the big time. People are talking about me in the national news. Yeah. Oh my goodness. All right, let's go back to finishing up with Zohran. And this is a big deal, okay? There's a big deal about this. I want to play this first. This is pathetic. Governor Cuomo's concession speech. Hold on.
Put forth, and I'm proud of the issues that we discussed. But tonight was not our night. Tonight was Assemblyman Mamdani's night, and he put together a great campaign, and he touched young people and inspired them and moved them and got them to come out.
Oh my goodness.
And he really ran a highly impactful campaign. I called him, I congratulated him, I applaud him sincerely for his effort, and let's give him a round of applause and thank him for his campaign.
Oh my goodness. I mean, what an idiot. What an idiot. Go back to bed, Cuomo. I mean, what a really sad, pathetic concession speech. You know, what happened here a few years back, the Democrats started doing all this Islamic outreach. They did it in Broward County too. And when Obama was bringing all these Muslim refugees to the United States, the Democrats, a new victim class. And they brought them into their party. And that's what this has resulted in. Jessica Tarloff and Charlie Kirk got into it a little bit. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll go back. Too bad that one guy hung up. I was curious to have a conversation with him. Charlie Kirk and Jessica Tarloff. Okay, listen to this. Fox News The 5 co-host Jessica Tarloff scolded Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk for publishing what she calls gross and Islamophobic post on Tuesday, urging him to take it down. As Zohran appeared set to win the New York City Democratic mayoral primary, Charlie Kirk reacted on social media with this post. Quote, 24 years ago, a group of Muslims killed 2,753 people on 9/11. Now a Muslim socialist is on pace to run New York City. Unquote. Charlie Kirk's post quickly received backlash, including from Jessica Tarloff, who replied, Charlie, this is so gross and Islamophobic, take it down! Sparking an argument between the two, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Listen, there's something to that. I'm here to tell you there's something to that. It's not just that he's Muslim, okay? It's also because of his father is a post-colonial studies professor at Columbia University, where, if you haven't noticed, the Iranians have taken over the whole joint and they're radicalizing the students over there. Jewish students are trying to hide that they're Jews. It's like 1933 for Jews at Columbia, and that's where his dad's a professor. This is his family. That's his worldview. So he's a communist, and it's not just that he's Muslim. He's from a radical Muslim family. If you're doing something, if your dad is and you're 33, which is young, and your daddy is a post-colonial studies professor at Columbia University, where they welcomed Ahmadinejad. I'd like to know what his dad and him were doing when Ahmadinejad went to Columbia years ago. His dad may have taken him. He was a little boy at the time, but I bet his dad took him. I wonder if he got to meet Ahmadinejad. I'm serious about that. It's all hands on deck. Cuomo is so out of it. We've got to get behind, I know this is not, we got to get behind Mayor Adams. He's running for re-election as an independent. That's our only hope to save New York City. And so goes New York, so goes the nation. This is the beginning of the end with this guy becoming mayor, especially if he gets elected and re-elected. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Morning. Listen, Brian, you're barking against. You're up against a lot. You're 150,000% right. They've taken over England. They got Sharia law. They've got mayors all over. This is a plan like they got into the universities. But the fact that they are, it's not even assimilation. It's invasion, and it's the beginning. And you just have to look in London and England, and it's a blueprint. And the fact of the matter is that the people in the Bronx, New York, and I'm from the Bronx, and I follow it. I still to this day, the lowest income in the United States, the lowest in education. It's just a disgusting place to live. And guess what? They're going to vote for this guy because he's Santa Claus. He's giving.
Well, Eric Adams. Eric Adams has the blacks. You think the blacks are going to vote for Zohran and not Mayor Adams?
100%, because he's giving away everything, the rent, the food, everything. He's a communist. He's not only he's a radical Muslim, but he's the city. This is the blueprint. They're going to try to do this in every city. New York is the big kahuna, and they've got the Bronx. The Bronx check the population of the Bronx and the income level. And the government subsidized housing and everything. It's a poverty joint. I mean, it's unbelievable. You're going to see that there's no way Adams can win this election.
Well, so what do you want to do? Okay, let's give up. I mean, what do you want to do? I mean, it's got to be talked about. It's got to be exposed. And I'm going to tell you, I've already, Curtis Sliwa is a clown. Remember that time he went and voted with his little puppy? What the hell was that about, But his dog under his shoulder, I thought he was a tough guy. He looked like, something else. He's a joke. He's the Republican, okay, running for mayor. That's a joke. Okay, Richie and I could get elected with the same votes that he gets, okay? He whatever votes he gets, it's just because it's another name on the ballot. Whether or not we win or lose, we got to get behind Mayor Adams. If we lose New York City to Zohran, the country is next.
I know that, and you know that, and the people out in the United States that better wake up quick. And you can call that Islamophobia or anything you want to do, but I'm going to tell you right now, this is the beginning of the downfall of our country. Look at Omar and look at Chile. They're infiltrating our government, man, and this is the big kahuna. I'm telling you. And he's given everything over.
And let me tell you, there's a national security issue because the mayor of New York City, because of 9/11 and such, has access to national security intelligence briefings that others don't get in the government outside of like the White House and such. It's a major security breach to have a guy with his background and connections having tactical security briefings on our Homeland Security. It's not safe. Listen, I'm out of time for the hour. Appreciate the call. The rest of you on hold, stand by. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, the Steve Kane Show. Our number is toll free, 888-465-2631. I want to hear from our New Yorkers, and DeSantis is up to something, which I'm going to share with you after the break as well. 888-465-2631. 1 hour down, 2 to go. We'll be right back.
WSFS 104.3 HD3 Thermar, WFLM 104.7 HD3 Palm Beach Shores, and heard in Broward on 96.9 FM, Boca Raton on 95.3 FM, West Palm Beach on 95.9 FM, and in Martin County on 106. We are South Florida's home for the True Oldies channel.
William, thank you for that. Zohran is a good fit for the Democrats, not America. Yeah, exactly. Now, guys, if you are a Medicare recipient or turning 65 soon, listen up. Our newest sponsor is Chapter. They can help you with your Medicare in whatever one of the 50 U.S. states you are in. Okay? You know, there's over 24,000 Medicare plans. They have access, and we'll go over all of them to find the one that fits you and your needs and your situation and, of course, your budget. You know, you give them a call. You're going to talk to a real person. They're going to have answers for you right away. Okay? Make sure that your doctors are covered. Make sure your prescription medications are covered. Make sure if you're paying for a supplement, you need that supplement, or you have the right supplement. You know, you can save thousands of dollars by calling Chapter. Now, the number I'm going to give you in a moment is also in the description of the video. They're good people. I've gotten to know them, and they're a company that you can trust. Here's the number, 805-754-3033. Again, the number is in the description of the video as well. 805-754-3033. Give them a call. They'll review your Medicare. And by the way, it costs you nothing. It's completely free. And no matter what state in the United States you are in, give them a call. 805-754-3033. They'll review your current plan. They'll help you and get everything set for you. 805-754-3033. Again, no matter what state you are in, you get a real person that's going to help you and walk you through everything. Give them a call. Again, the number in the description of the video if you missed it. All right? Oh. We'll get into DeSantis.
Any lab test now, Coral Springs number is 954-906-5983. Don't forget to mention that you heard about them on the radio.
Do you suffer from neuropathy? I did, until I went to Lighthouse Medical Center in Pompano. Numbness, pain, burning, tingling in my hands and feet, muscle weakness, loss of balance, muscle twitching have all but disappeared. Say goodbye to your neuropathy symptoms. Call Lighthouse Medical Center for a free consultation. 754-222-6642. Tell them Steve Kane sent you.
Have you put off buying new tires because you thought they were too expensive? Find friendly prices at Friendly Tire in Margate on both new and used tires. New tires as low as $70 a tire. That's out the door and on the road, because Friendly Tire doesn't charge you to balance the tire or mount the tire. They have thousands of used tires in stock too, starting at just $30.
All right, we'll be right back here.
954-977-9445. 954-977-9445.
On the air since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
All righty. Welcome back. Callers on hold, stand by. Okay, so Ron DeSantis is up to something. And, you know, Ron DeSantis is a liar, and he cannot be trusted. I'm sorry. I mean, he is, you know, he lied to us all. He was never MAGA, and he betrayed Trump. Okay? He betrayed Trump. He lied to the president and lied to all of us in Florida who supported him. He was never MAGA. He betrayed President Trump. And you cannot trust him. And he's unelectable forever, but he's running a scheme right now. You know, as much of fake MAGA as he is, he does a lot of good things that you like. You've heard about the alligator Alcatraz. That's an awesome idea. But he's been talking about something a little bit here and there the last couple of months. And then yesterday he was speaking, and the scheme that he's running was revealed, which I'm going to share with you what it looks like DeSantis is doing. DeSantis is pretty much unelectable forever because he lied to us. We don't trust him anymore, right? And he's term limited out of office. This is his second term. He can't run for re-election. Although I've heard that if he takes a 4-year break, he could come back. But he appointed Marco Rubio's replacement to the Senate to complete that term. And in the midterms, that seat is up. When Marco Rubio resigned from the Senate to become Secretary of State, the governor appointed, I cannot even remember her name offhand. Anybody remember her name? It's not important. But he appointed the replacement, and all she is doing is completing Marco Rubio's term. So that seat is up again in the midterms. And it looks like he's going to run for it. And he's got a good chance. And let me share with you why. And he's putting people like me that don't trust him in a real bad spot. Okay, so here he is. This is something he's talking about. He's talking about the property taxes again. But then he drops something that's kind of hard to hear that revealed what the plot is. Listen, let me play this for you. This is Ron DeSantis yesterday.
Folks here really deserve. And, you know, I look about people here. Every time I run into someone, it's like, oh, yeah, I'm a Florida resident now. Like, people, when did you buy, where are you at? And they'll be like, oh, I'm in Santa Rosa Beach. When did you buy the property? Oh, I bought it in 2018. I'm like, you've made a lot of money off that property since then because the values have gone up. And while there's good for that, because people that own it have more equity and have more wealth, you know, the reality is that they're going to come tell you your house is worth twice as much than what you purchased it, and you got to pay higher taxes as a result. That's a negative of having rising property values, and it's an unrealized gain. You sell your house, it's one thing on a transaction for someone to say to tax, like a sales tax, but to say you're just enjoying property and all of a sudden the value, so you have to pony up. We don't really do that in anything else. I mean, you buy a stock, you hold it, and then you're taxed when you sell it. The stock doubles, they don't just tax you as you hold it. So unrealized gains is not the way you want to run a tax system, but our property tax system basically relies on these unrealized gains. So we're going to work hard to provide relief, but ultimately we can't, as elected leaders, deliver the relief without the voters approving it at the ballot box. And so just get ready. You're going to have an opportunity to do that. I'm sure it's going to be very favorably received in Walton County and probably everywhere else, you know, in this part of the state.
Okay. So he just dropped the plot. And I don't know if he's sharp enough to have come up with this. Maybe he is. Now, understand this. If Ron DeSantis had not betrayed Trump, he would probably be the Attorney General of the United States right now and not Mamdani. He blew it. So what's he going to do? Now, in the state of Florida, we do not have state income tax. It's against the law in Florida. The Florida state constitution forbids a state income tax. But we all have property taxes. I bought my house over 20 years ago. My house has more than doubled in value since I bought it. But my property taxes have gone up. And in fact, my wife and I, we lived in Broward. We had a condo in Broward, in Plantation. And we moved to Palm Beach when we bought a house because the property taxes were lower at the time in Palm Beach than Broward. I don't know what the difference is now. But I looked at my taxes, my property taxes, I got that thing in the mail. They're going up again. I guess we don't have, we have 8, I'm not exaggerating, we have 8 dog parks within like 10 minutes of my house. We have 2 public libraries about 1-2 miles apart from each other. I mean, what the heck? They got too much money, the government of Florida. But he's talking about eliminating the property tax. So what's the racket here? He just dropped it right there in that clip, and it was kind of hard to hear because he just kind of mumbled it out. He said he wants to eliminate and the thing about the property tax, a lot of people work all their lives to pay off their houses. They pay off their mortgage, and then they're shocked to find out that they're still paying almost what they were paying because of the property taxes and the homeowner's insurance. And the mortgage portion, most people, when they have their home financed, it's all in one payment. The mortgage, taxes, and the insurance are bundled into one payment. They pay off their mortgage, and they're only saving a few hundred a month because most of that monthly mortgage payment is for the taxes and the insurance. Florida homeowners insurance has gone through the roof. Mine's gone up every year the last 3 or 4 years, and I don't even open up the envelope anymore. It is what it is. I don't want to know. It's depressing. It's gone up a lot. It's more than twice what it was not that long ago. And they can't do much. There's not that many insurance companies that'll insure Floridians, so there's not much they can do to lower the insurance cost. So they're going after the elimination of the property tax. So what is DeSantis' scheme that he dropped right there? He says, I'm trying to do that, but it's up to you, the voters. Did you hear that? It's up to the voters. So they're talking about some type of ballot initiative, some type of law, some type of thing on the ballot to eliminate property taxes in Florida. Well, if that's going to be on the ballot, I'm going to line up now. I can't wait to vote for that. Everybody is. Anyone who owns property, not just homeowners, but commercial property, are going to be lining up to vote to eliminate property taxes. Now, I don't know if it's going to cover commercial properties or not, but we have a lot of homeowners in Florida. So when is that going to be on the ballot? I suspect you got to understand, this is a Jeb Bush Republican, Ron DeSantis. And Jeb Bush has a lot of juice in Florida still. People don't know the turtle, he's behind the scenes. But the Republican Party of Florida, just because the president lives here, doesn't mean MAGA's running Florida's Republican Party. It's run in large part by Bush Republicans. And I suspect they're going to get that eliminate property taxes on the primary ballot, of which he'll be on running for the Senate. Right? He hasn't announced yet. But he's thinking, what am I going to do? All these MAGA people are mad at me. He's going to get on, what they're moving to is get on the ballot, the elimination of the property taxes. He will have put it on the ballot as our governor. He's responsible for it. He's the one talking about it all the time. There'll be a massive turnout, and I am not joking. I cannot even remember the name of the woman that he appointed to replace Marco in the Senate. Does anyone know her name? And without name recognition, and I follow everything, and I can't remember her name, he would beat her in the primary. With that on the ballot, the elimination of property taxes, massive turnout, Ron DeSantis would win the Republican primary for U.S. Senate. So then what happens? He's the nominee. It's November. And we've got Ron DeSantis as the Senate nominee for the Republican Party, fake MAGA, betrayed Trump, lied to us all, but he's up against some Democrat idiot, whoever they put up. And every seat in the Senate is important, man. Every seat in the Senate is like 10 seats in the House. Really, it's that important. So what are you and I going to do that don't trust this guy? If he gets this on the primary ballot, the elimination of property taxes, he's going to win. He's going to win the primary and be the nominee for Senate if he chooses that path. So then what are we going to do? When every seat is important in the House, in the Senate, more so than the House, are we going to vote for Ron DeSantis, those of us that don't trust this guy, Or are we going to leave it blank and let the Democrat win? Leaving it blank is like voting for the Democrat. He puts us in a catch-22. It's a very clever scheme, isn't it? It's a very clever scheme. These never-Trumpers never stop. And this is one of their most clever, sophisticated rackets that they're running. And I got to tell you, I could sit here, I'm going to stand on... There's no way when the majority in the Senate is up for grabs that we're all not going to vote for DeSantis instead of letting the Democrat win the Florida Senate race. It's really a brilliant move. No doubt about it. But that's what I took from his little talk yesterday. Okay, we'll take our first break of the second hour. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. You know, yesterday I was telling you guys about my Trump belt my wife got me when I was talking about Coastal Weight Loss Secret. This is amazing. My wife got me this very, very nice Trump belt from the official Trump store for Father's Day, and she bought it many months ago. She saw it, she bought it months and months ago. Father's Day came along, and before I opened it, my wife says, I hope it fits. I had no idea what it was. I knew it wasn't a shirt. I knew it wasn't pants, because the box size. And it was a Trump belt, and it was too big by far. I mean, too big by far. I mean, it fell down to the ground, you know, around my feet. And because she bought me that belt before I went to Coastal Weight Loss Secret. She bought that belt for the old me, and I did not realize how many inches I had lost off my waist, but a lot. So we sent it back, and they sent me the new small size, and it fits perfectly. I showed it to everybody online yesterday, and I don't know how many inches I lost because I didn't measure, but I lost a lot of inches. Yeah, my old belt, I put a lot of holes in it. That with my pocket knife because it was too small, and I finally got a new belt because I'm in the maintaining phase now. I don't want to lose any more weight. I'm at the weight I was 29 years ago when I got married, and this is where I want to stay, and this is awesome. But I have lost many inches off my waist. I am in shock. It was amazing, and that belt it made me feel so good when that belt. And my wife's like, "Oh, your Father's Day present doesn't fit." I said, "No, this is awesome. Look at all the weight I've lost. It's right here with the belt." So listen, give Coastal Weight Loss Secret a call. They have a July 4th special going on right now that ends on the 7th of July. 20% off for new patients. Okay? Give them, and that special is going on now. Even though it's a July 4th special, it's going on right now. But July 7th will be here before you know it. Here's the number, 561-247-6300. Make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel when you call, okay? 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlossecret.com. We'll be right back.
Get in on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-GO-KANE-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Scott on the radio, reminding you that your favorite oldies are back on the air right after 10 a.m. this morning, right here on the True Oldies channel.
If you're a homeowner with a homeowners association.
See how bad it's getting? You see how bad it's getting outside?
What's that?
See how bad it's getting?
I know. It's pretty scary. I'm glad I didn't bring my Vespa today.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Are you tossing and turning every night? That means you're not sleeping on My Pillow.
It's crazy.
You've heard me talk about the My Pillow for years, and if you haven't tried it yet, what are you waiting for? You You spend a third of your life sleeping. Do it right and order your MyPillow. Right now, they're just $17.98 with our promo code Kane at checkout. K-A-N-E at MyPillow.com. At this low price, you can afford to get a MyPillow for every bed in your home. You can also order by phone. 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Take advantage of these low prices and stop right now.
This is Steve Kane. I want to tell you about my favorite restaurant in all of South Florida.
Yeah, if you're new, make sure you subscribe, guys.
Wings just the way you like them. Plump, tender, and delicious. Crispy on the outside, succulent on the inside. Everything homemade. Nothing comes out of a can. Dozens of specialty sauces that will make your mouth water. Wings Plus, located in Coral Springs, a mile west of University on the south side of Sample Road.
Now back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, hear us in Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the world at True Oldies FM.
Alrighty, we're back. Callers on hold, hang in there. I know there's a lot of breaking news today. I've been jibber-jabbering, but if you're on hold, hang in there. And if you'd like to comment on anything, comment. What is it? I got some kind of accent I picked up. If you'd like to comment on anything that I brought up today, you're welcome to. Our number, toll-free, 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. Okay. By the way, I just got a text. We're going to call Barry at 7:45, Mike. I'm going to tell you now. I usually would tell you that during the break, but I'll forget. I got so much on my mind. Let me let him know. Hold on a second. Okay. Yeah, I get text during the show. Barry's got an important meeting when we were going to speak to him, so we're going to move him up to 7:45, and we'll do that other thing later. Okay. So, if you'd like to call in, 888-465-2631. I've covered a lot. Now, I want to share this story. I saw this. If it wasn't for Zohran winning this primary yesterday, I would have led with this story. CNN discloses, I'm having a hard time speaking today. I don't know. Have I had a stroke? CNN discloses top secret intel assessment about U.S. strikes on Iranian nuclear sites on live TV. Yeah. A top secret, this isn't the Gateway Pundit, but it's being widely reported on CNN and elsewhere. A top secret, listen to this, a top secret intelligence assessment about the U.S. strikes on Iranian nuclear sites was leaked to CNN. And CNN disclosed this classified information, top secret, on live TV yesterday. President Trump announced on Saturday evening that the U.S. had dropped bombs on 3 nuclear sites and how successful they were. And CNN reported, according to a leak of classified intelligence information, an early assessment from the Pentagon's intelligence arm revealed Iran's nuclear sites are largely intact and the U.S. strikes only set them back a few months. Now, of course, the White House said this is BS and this is false information. But hold on a second here. CNN is in the possession of classified intelligence information about a military operation from Saturday, and they have documents that have been put together since Saturday. Did you hear that thunder? Did that thunder pick up on the mic? It looks like we're having a total eclipse outside. It is so dark. I think in the next break, I'm going to tell you guys about Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. It is hurricane season, and I'm looking outside. I mean, this is rough. Oh, man, I got to drive home in this. Now I remember, so CNN is in the possession of classified information about an ongoing military operation, this bombing of Iraq and the assessments of it from Saturday. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't Joe Biden send the FBI to break into President Trump's home at Mar-a-Lago looking for classified documents? They sent armed federal agents into President Trump's home. They broke in. They had machine guns. Remember that? Did I say Iraq? It's Iran. Give me a break. I've been speaking a lot today. I don't know. I need to get my head examined. Maybe I've had a stroke. I'm getting like, did I say Iraq? Well, Iran, Iraq. You know what I mean. But they broke it. They sent the feds for classified information that they said was in the possession of Trump at Mar-a-Lago. They broke into his house with machine guns, the FBI. They tossed his office. They brought a safe cracker and broke into the president's safe. They went into Barron's room. They went through Melania's closet and underwear drawer and tossed all her wardrobe. Are they going to do the same? Is Kash Patel and Dan Bongino going to lead a raid into CNN? Why is it okay for CNN to have classified documents on an ongoing military operation from Saturday, documents created after because this is the post-attack assessment, but they break into Trump, who's authorized to have the documents? There seems to be some kind of conflict here going on. Why is it okay for CNN to have classified documents, but they break into President Trump and try to bring him up on trial for being in possession of classified documents that he has the clearances, authorization, and authority to possess? What's going on here? You know, I really don't like going after Kash Patel and Dan Bongino and Pam Bondi. They're doing a good job with the regular criminals. But all the political criminals out there and the lawfare people, they're sitting on their hands. Now, on Laura Ingraham, I've got this clip. See if I have it queued up. I may not have it queued up. Let me see. I was listening to it during the break, and I don't think I queued it up. No, I didn't queue it up. But I don't need to play it. I think it was Witkoff, as I was looking to see who said it. Witkoff was on last night with Laura Ingraham and was calling this treason. It is a crime. And how do we know it's a crime to possess classified information you're not authorized to have? Because CNN told us when they were covering the break-in of Mar-a-Lago. My throat's dry. Let's take our break. I'll get my throat moisturized with my dehydrating coffee, and then we'll come back. If you're on hold, stand by. Our number 888-465-2631. But I do want to tell you about Tom Laporta and Laporta Roofing. Right now, as I'm looking outside, I'm hearing thunder. It's getting closer. The sky is dark. It is hurricane season. Okay? And the rains are coming. And these are going to be some pretty rough ones. I can tell it's going to be a hard... Oh, boy, did you see that lightning? Oh, my goodness. There's lightning outside. I mean, it's really bad. You know, when these rains come down today, and maybe they're already coming down where you're at, if you've got a wet spot on your ceiling, you've got a leak in your roof. You've got a loose tile, you got a loose shingle, you want to call Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. You know, these storms we get, even if we don't get a hurricane and it's a tropical storm, there are unsustained hurricane-strength wind gusts. And what they're trying to do is find an entryway into your home. That loose tile, that loose shingle that's caused that wet spot on your ceiling that's about the size of a quarter, that's all they need to rip off your roof. Take care of it. You know, Tom Laporta is a good MAGA guy. He'll never sell you a roof you do not need, meaning that if you need just a simple repair, he will do it. Also, he covers both the east and west coast of Florida and everywhere in between. Here's his cell phone number, 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. And online, LaportaRoofing.com. Call us on hold, stand by. We'll be right back.
Making morning radio great again. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Hey, it's Scott on the radio reminding you that your favorite oldies are back on the air right after 10 a.m. this morning on the True Oldies channel.
From the Kalea Pain Relief Weather Center, the only pain relief cream that blocks pain and reduces inflammation within 3 minutes or less. Here's your Oldies forecast.
This Wednesday morning and throughout the day, showers are likely and then thunderstorms likely with a high of 84 degrees. In the evening, a chance of thunderstorms with a low of 80 degrees. On Thursday, a high of 84 degrees can be expected. Showers likely and then thunderstorms. Into the evening, a chance of thunderstorms with a low of 80 degrees.
Correct. And then we'll call him at 7:45.
Of your quality of life. If you answered yes, you have to try Kalea Pain Relief. Kalea Pain Relief Cream relieves arthritis, joint, and muscle pain better than anything you've ever tried. Kalea, get back to doing what you love. Now available in your local public supermarket in the pharmacy section.
Yeah.
And now, a True Oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
Watch for construction Military Trail, Gateway Boulevard to Hypoluxo Road. Military Trail northbound between 19th Street and Clintmore Road. Spot something on the roads, call the traffic tip line, pound 250, keyword West Palm Traffic. I'm Ron Hersey.
Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. PBKC is your entertainment destination with poker, OTB, table games, exceptional eats, and exciting events. The poker room is open daily for cash games, tournaments, amazing promotions, and easy to play.
Oh boy, oh boy. I'm gonna go. I'll take some calls when we get back. I haven't been taking calls because I got so much going on here.
PBKC, where winners play. Visit pbkennelclub.com.
My name is Dr. Philip Appleton. I'm a chiropractic physician. Over the years, I've treated thousands and thousands of patients from bursitis, tendonitis, sciatica, stenosis, neuropathy, tears, post-surgery, pre-surgery, herniated disc, gout, bone on bone. If you can name the pain, most likely I've treated it over the years. Most of my practice is laser with robotic lasers. They're robots which rotates constantly around the area, where most lasers do not do that. So if you want to come in for a free consultation, as always here, welcome at Appleton Chiropractic. I'm here 6 days a week. I personally do all the treatment. You can bring your MRIs, you can bring your x-rays, you can bring your CAT scans, whatever you have to bring for me to look at, I would do that free of charge.
See, a nice listener sent me an actual letter here to the radio station.
0710-954-973-0710 and online, AppletonChiro.com.
Men, just because you're getting older doesn't mean you have to feel older. At the Bio Station, West Delray, Dr. Mitch Matez, an expert in hormone replacement therapy, is here to help you reclaim your youth. Hormone replacement therapy is all natural and can restore your hormones to where they were in your 20s. You'll feel younger, have more energy, and even get your sex drive back. And for women, hormone replacement pellet therapy can completely stop and reverse the signs and symptoms of menopause. No more loose skin, better sleep, and no more night sweats. Call Dr. Matez for a free consultation today at 561-320-8893. That's 561-320-8893.
When it comes to dental work, there's no one better than Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. But don't just take my word for it. This is Richie the bus driver. He called in on the air to share his experience with Dr.
Can you guys? Is that thunder picking up on the mic? It's It's loud.
I had a broken tooth. He fixed it. It was supposed to be temporary. It lasted 2 years. He put dentures in my mouth that are a lot cheaper than anybody else. And he's excellent and no pain. I recommend this guy. To me, he's the best ever. So I want to get that out of the way.
Mr. Richie the bus driver. Go see Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. 954-922-4633. 954-922-4633.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
All right, callers, I don't want to stand by. We'll take some calls. I mean, I don't know if that thunder's picking up on the mic, but it is brutal. And I was just looking at the radar over this area where we're at in Palm Beach Gardens. Oh, my goodness. You can't even really see this part of the state. The radar's covered us up with rain. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, this is James at Delray. How you doing today?
All right. What's up, Delray?
Listen, I'm just so irate about the fact that Montino and Castell and they haven't gone anybody that got this welfare garbage. And the fact that they're not going after anybody like CNN, what you're talking about, I'm so mad.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people say, well, they're scared. Well, Tom Homan, he's kicking indoors. I mean, you know, this is what I've said a few weeks ago about this, okay? I'm thinking, I don't know about Cash, but I think Dan Bongino's all hype. I think he's hyped himself up as this bad cop federal agent, and I know he was a federal agent and a cop, but I don't think he was like Tom Holman kicking in doors. I think that he's very well could be a poser who doesn't even know how to do it. You understand what I mean? Exactly.
Bill was in charge with anything. Where's John? Come on, how come I haven't gone after him?
Yeah.
So many laws, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and they're doing a good job going after the regular criminals. That's cool. But, Bongino and Cash Patel have spent 4 years talking about arresting these lawfare people, and they've done nothing.
It's crazy.
Everybody else in the Trump administration has been doing their job, and a lot of it's been very controversial, except these guys, except the justice people.
We waited for this 4 years of going through Biden's garbage to get to this, and now nothing's happening to these people that broke the law.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
I don't care if you're a common person, a senator, whatever. You broke the law, you're going to jail.
What's the weather looking like in Delray? You're south of me. It's like nighttime outside here in Palm Beach Gardens. What's it look like in Delray?
I'm just arriving at the dog park to take my dog to the park.
It's not raining in Delray. Lucky you. Lucky you. You're lucky. Going to the dog park. Okay. All right. Hey, do you pick up your dog's do you pick up your dog's business at the dog park if nobody's watching?
Of course.
If nobody's there watching?
All the time.
Okay. All right. Take care. I went to the dog park in Boca once, and I didn't pick up the stuff, and a lady came running at me, screaming at me. She was the number 2 patrol, I guess. She was fuming. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, it's Doug. That's funny that the woman started bothering him. Oh man, and this society.
Now I don't have dogs anymore. They've all died of old age. But I used to, when I would walk my dogs in my neighborhood, I would walk them down this area like on the outer skirts of the development, and I didn't pick up the stuff, but I kept the bag in my hand and I would pretend to do it, so that people thought I did it. I'm not picking up come on. And then there was one of our chronic callers was trying to find out where I was so they could bring the police to write me a ticket for not picking it up because it's a county ordinance. I'm beyond the statute of limitations. My dogs have been gone for a while, but people don't know. I'd have the thing that that bag that you put inside. I'd have it in my hand. They would go. I'd bend down to the ground and pretend, and then they thought I picked it up.
It's funny, these people, they're in the dog park. Yeah, I guess you got to clean it up, I guess.
Nah.
It's not something you want to do. Anyway, I'm so glad President Trump brought out fake news. And man, oh man, everybody knew that, the Democrats, and there's a lot of lying going on, but man.
Well, this is. Are you going to talk about anything I brought up in I haven't taken calls in 90 minutes. And, you're just like free associating with vague generalities.
No, what I'm saying is fake. You got Ron DeSantis saying he wants to end real estate taxes, knowing that all the Democrats are already saying that, it would hurt the schools.
All right. Appreciate the call. Oh my, he's just that. I like Doug. Don't get me wrong, but he just wants to hear his voice. I mean, he's You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Once, twice. Maybe I should not take any calls today because I got a lot more to cover, and if you're on hold, hang in there. I got more that I want to cover before we go back to the calls. I only took those calls because they've been on hold a long time. Okay, now yesterday, one of the AutoPen people testified. This is a Biden aide, Nara Tandon, I guess is how you say her name. She testified. And then she came out and talked to reporters. This is her talking to the reporters. Oh, let me pull it. There we go.
I just spoke with the House Representatives, Majority and Minority Council. I answered every question, was to discuss my technical service, and
Okay, so I was glad to discuss my public service, she said. Okay, so I didn't follow this story too much yesterday because it wasn't in the news, really. We had all this conflict going on with, is the ceasefire on? I know at the NATO summit they were saying the ceasefire's on. I don't know what's going on. I don't think anyone does. But this woman, Neera Tanden, she's part of the Autopin presidency of the last 4 years. You just heard from a former president of the United States, right? Neera Tanden, part of the Autopin committee that was governing America. And I was reading this story about her, and have you ever heard that phrase, burying the lead? Burying the lead. They buried the lead in the Fox News story. Former Biden official, this is Fox News on their website, former Biden official Neera Tanden, who testified before Congress Tuesday as part of an investigation into his mental acuity, has a long history as a Democratic operative. Okay? She was going to get a cabinet appointment, but she had some controversial tweets, and it goes on. She worked for Hillary Clinton, blah, blah, blah. And I go all the way down, and I don't know how many words this is into the article, but it's way down in the article. Tanden met with the House Oversight Committee behind closed doors as it probes whether those closest to Biden and his White House knowingly colluded to hide the former president's declining mental acuity and use methods to circumvent the former president when it came to the issuance of important orders. So that's a very wordy way to say she was there to testify about the Autopin people, of which she's one of them. But here's the lead that they buried. Tanden, she testified, but they say met with House Oversight Committee behind closed doors. What's that? What? Behind closed doors? Why wasn't this live on television? To do that behind closed doors is to partake in a cover-up. We control both houses. We're the chair of the committees in both houses. This needs to be on television, live, not behind closed doors. You know, the reason they do these things behind closed doors is it's a rehearsal. So we can hear it, they can hear what has to be said, and then they do it again on television, and then they formulate what the Q&A will be, and they pretend like it's hot and heated when it's not. To do this hearing, this is the first Autopin person to testify that I know of. Doing it behind closed doors is a cover-up, not an investigation. It's disgusting. And I'm really ticked about it. I really am. You know, and I was afraid they were going to do this. Boy, oh boy. You know, if this was on television, live, the first person testifying to Congress about the Autopin presidency, everybody would be talking about it today. But what they've done now is get their stories in order. All right, it's time to check in with Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group. Attorney Barry Siegel, good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing all right. What do you have for us this morning, Barry?
Well, in the last couple of days, and this happens regularly, I had conversation with people that just, you know, in the course of just everyday conversation, not people who came in, tell me about their situation that they had to deal with their parent. In both cases, the parents are now deceased, but they told me the stories about what they had to go through dealing with their parents. And when they realized I was an elder law attorney and what we did, they're like, oh my God, I wish we had spoken with you guys because all the issues that are associated with it and the idea that they spent down the assets, they wish that somebody had recommended that they see an elder law attorney such as ourselves. So if you are someone listening right now, and if you are dealing with an aging parent, even if they don't need care yet, it's a good idea to have a consultation with us so we could review the long-term care and make sure that there is a plan as to how it's going to be paid for, because it's very expensive, very, very expensive, and it could end up destroying somebody's financial future simply by not having a plan ahead. And if your parent is currently receiving care, then absolutely you need to meet with us so that we can see if there is a way that if you aren't already, if they're not already on Medicaid or they don't have long-term care insurance paying for it, we can develop a plan and actually get them qualified for Medicaid and protect their assets. That's the key thing. Most people think they can't get this and they think they have to spend down their assets. That's exactly incorrect. We can help protect the assets and get your loved one qualified for Medicaid and protect their future. That's what we do.
Yeah, and something to keep an eye out for, because you might say, well, I have long-term care insurance, mom has long-term care insurance, dad too. What I learned from you, Barry, I did not know this, and you told me about this a few years ago. In the old days, these long-term care policies lasted till you passed away. That is not the case with these policies anymore, right, Barry?
Well, yeah, the policies now are not the ones that they sold in the early days when these first came out. The insurance companies began to learn that this was not a profitable venture for them to do these lifetime policies, so they stopped doing that now. And so right now, you see very few people who have that level of coverage.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so for a lot of people, they could end up not having enough now.
Yeah, that's right. So give the Siegel Law Group a call. And I want to tell you guys, the Siegel Law Group, what time do you have a live person there answering phones in the mornings, Barry?
At 8:30 in the morning, we have a live person before we have an answer.
Okay, so call after 8:30 and you'll talk to a live member of the Siegel Law Group. Call after 8:30. They'll be able to help you set up that no charge in office consultation. The number is toll free 855-FLA-3782. 855-FLA-3782. That's 855-FLA-3782. And online, SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Barry, we'll talk later in the week. All right, take care. Do we have a break to go to now or not? Okay, we're back. Okay, so getting back to all these things that are going on, and there's a lot of craziness that certainly is going on. I was reading an article, we talk so much about the media, and I'm reading this article in the Daily Mail during the break. And it shows you how stupid people are in the press, okay? And really how they try to do things, okay? So there is a big move going on right now that Joy Reid has reappeared. She's on CNN now. So I guess her non-compete with MSNBC has expired. And Joy Reid, she's kind of like, I guess, auditioning to get a show. And they may give her a program over there. They need to do something to bring some life back into their failing news network. But this is Joy Reid. She's talking about Iran and the attack on the nuclear reactor the other day. This is on CNN, Joy Reid, and she's on there with who's that fake Republican on The View? Anna Navarro from The View was there too.
I find it rather extraordinary that we are very casually having a conversation about the tactical success or failure of dropping a 3,000-pound bomb or two on a sovereign country that did not attack us. And we are failing to unpack or even address, as we're discussing whether or not it was effective how we bombed Iran, whether Donald Trump was correct in saying we obliterated their facilities, and not asking why on earth is the United States bombing a country that did not attack us? What on earth are we doing there at all? And why is it that there is this arrogance in the West and in the United States to say that we get to decide who can have nuclear energy? We get to decide that, and not just decide it, we get to act on it and drop bombs on a country that didn't attack us. We had no business dropping bombs on Iran. And so the question of whether the tactic worked or not, to me, ignores the fundamental moral question at hand. And I think that I'm not alone probably among Americans who are saying that this was something that we had absolutely no right to do.
Okay, so yeah, Joy Reid's back, and you know this is one of their new things that they're running all the time. Okay, who are we to tell them? First off, the left, but you guys, a lot of you guys forget the Cold War. The left, Democrats, used to stage protests all over the United States and Europe against the United States having nuclear weapons. Because, you know, during the Cold War with the Soviet Union, when NATO was relevant, we would have not just bases doing buildups, but nuclear weapons in Europe. And the Democrats from this country would organize protest in Europe and in the United States against nuclear weapons. And they said, you can't have nuclear weapons. And I say, we can't have Now all of a sudden they're advocating for nuclear weapons in the case of Iran. It's very bizarre, isn't it? It makes no sense. But so far as a country that has not attacked us, they've been attacking us all the time, constantly, for years. Since 79 when they took the embassy. All the Islamic terrorism is after us. But no one on this panel, I'm not going to play any more of the panel because they're a bunch of idiots and stupid people on this panel. Iran has been trying to assassinate President Trump for about 7 years. And there was a lot of reporting, even on CNN, which they don't report anymore, that during the campaign, the Iranians were they had hit squads in this country. In fact, President Trump was flying around on different aircraft undercover, not Trump Force One, because the Iranians have access to rockets, RPGs, to knock planes out of the air. So he was flying on other people's jets sometimes to avoid the Iranian hit squad. This was reported on CNN throughout the entire campaign. Now their narrative is, well, they're not attacked. I don't think you have to make a strong argument to say that if Iran is trying to assassinate, at the time, a former president and presidential candidate, that if Iran is trying to assassinate any former president, that is an act of war, isn't it? And this is all left out. And not one of these idiots on the CNN panels have brought this up. I haven't even heard has Jennings brought this up on CNN? Maybe he has. But can somebody that knows these pundits get to it? And then I'm reading during the break this article about this very thing in the Daily Mail. And I don't quite understand what they mean by this. Okay, so they're trying to blame anyone other than the Democrats for Iran having nuclear capabilities. And if you notice, they've got this narrative going. They don't want weapons. They want nuclear power. Well, the Democrats won't let us build nuclear reactors here. Right? You know, the Democrats have been stopping the construction of nuclear power plants in the United States forever. It's one of the biggest things they advocate to do. But now all of a sudden, they used to be against nuclear missiles. Now they're for them, for the Iranians to have them. They've been activists against nuclear power plants my whole life. Remember that movie, The China Syndrome, with Jack Lemmon and Jane Fonda? That's what that was about. And Michael Douglas. Now they're for nuclear power in Iran, and they're trying to push this narrative that it's about nuclear power, not nuclear missiles. Are you kidding me? Why would you have nuclear power plants when you're sitting on an ocean of oil underneath every bit of soil in all of Iran? It's not even credible. But I'm reading this article in the Daily Mail during the break. This was earlier in the show. And they're trying to blame the Republicans for giving the Iran. Listen to this. Iran's first nuclear, this is in the Daily Mail. Iran's first nuclear reactor was a gift from a surprising source, the United States. Known as the Tehran Research Reactor, it's a small facility in the capital suburbs. It was a gift from President Dwight D. Eisenhower in 1967 as part of the Atoms for Peace program, which shared nuclear technology with American allies. Does anyone know what's wrong with that sentence? And I'm not talking about diagramming it, okay? I'm not talking about the grammar. Even if the grammar's wrong, they're English, so maybe they know better. Who was president in 1967? Lyndon Johnson, not Republican Dwight D. Eisenhower. So do they not, I mean, are these the people that they're hiring to write news stories about important things that are going on? I mean, something like this, I mean, that's at the height of the war in Vietnam. You don't have to be a presidential historian to know who was president in 1967. My goodness. So if they've got something like that wrong, what else is incorrect? And I'm gonna follow this story because most of the news stories today are all plagiarized. Somebody will have a story somewhere and everybody else just copies and pastes it and change a few words around. So I'm curious to see if this 1967 President Eisenhower, he died in the 60s. I mean, he was alive in 67. I think Nixon was president when he died. So he died in 69 probably. He was alive, but he was 2 presidents before. He was president before Kennedy. I know it seems like a minor thing, and I'm not into fact-checking on little tiny things, but that's a big thing. That tells you how stupid people are in the media. Oh my goodness. All right, now I want to talk about the great Mike Lindell and MyPillow. He's got an incredible special going on right now. You know, he had a big victory this week in his lawsuit, Mike Lindell. You know, he was being sued for over $60 million. And he won that, and that the settlement came down just over $2 million. Now, $2 million is a lot of money, don't get me wrong, but it's not 60-something. So I'm going to count that as a victory for the great Mike Lindell, you know. And, you know, the thing about that lawsuit, if that lawsuit would have gone to court like 3 or 4 years ago, he may not have done as well, but he's, you know, people have woken up to everything that's going on. But he's got an incredible special going on right now with the MyPillow. If you're tossing and turning at night, that means you haven't been taking my advice and gotten yourself a MyPillow. I've been sleeping on my MyPillow for over a decade, and I know it seems nuts to a lot of people, but once you have that experience, you'll know what I mean. It's not an ordinary pillow, although the price of it is so affordable, just $17.98 with our promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E. It's a great pillow. That patented fill that Mike Lindell invented, what it does is when you put your head down on that pillow, your head and neck stay in place all night long. You're not tossing and turning. You're not flipping the pillow around trying to get comfortable. And it doesn't matter how you sleep. You sleep on your back, on your right side, your left side, on your stomach. No matter your sleep position, your head with that patented fill fits perfectly, your head and neck, into the pillow. So you're not flipping the pillow around all night trying to get comfortable. And what happens, every time you do that, even if you don't remember it, because you're sleeping, you've interrupted your REM sleep. So you might as well be wide awake. And that's why you get such a great night's sleep with the MyPillow. So go to MyPillow.com. Use our promo code KANE at checkout, $17.98. I paid $65 in change for mine 10 years ago. So this is a huge discount. So you can buy a MyPillow for every bed in your house, and also as gifts if you want. You can also order by phone toll-free, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout. All right, so in the next hour, I might take some of the calls, although the calls the few calls I've taken today have been pretty pathetic, so, so I don't know. But I got a lot to cover still, and I do want to recap this god-awful tragedy that happened with Zohran, this communist winning the Democrat primary for mayor in New York City. I am going to recap that story because that is a very, very important story. And we will take some calls, and hopefully in the next hour we can raise the quality of the calls we've been getting today, because the calls today are, I mean, even Doug, Doug's not the best caller, but that may have been his worst call that I've ever heard came from Doug today. All right, our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you are listening. Also, I'm not sure if I'll get into this or not. I might. Candace Owens is offering a multi-$1,000 reward for something. She's losing her mind, okay? And on top of the fact that she's the biggest anti-Semite in American media that I have ever seen in my life. So we may get into that, and there's some new things with Tucker Carlson as well. So I got a lot to cover in the next hour on top of talking about this communist Muslim guy that is the favorite to be the next mayor of New York City. All right, my name is Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. Our number is toll-free, 888-465-2631. We'll be back right after our top of the hour break.
104.3 HD3 FM 104.7 HD3 Palm Beach Shores, and heard in Broward on 96.9 FM, Boca Raton on 95.3 FM, West Palm Beach on 95.9 FM, and in Martin County on 106.9 FM. We are South Florida's home for the True Oldies channel. From the Kalea Pain Relief Weather Center, the only pain relief cream that blocks pain and reduces inflammation within 3 minutes or less. Here's your oldies forecast. Weather brought to you by Kalea Pain Relief Cream. Is pain robbing you of your quality of life? If you answered yes, you have to try Kalea Pain Relief. Kalea Pain Relief Cream relieves arthritis, joint, and muscle pain better than anything you've ever tried. Kalea, get back to doing what you love. Now available in your local public supermarket in the pharmacy section. And now, a True Oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
For heavy rains on I-95 in West Palm Beach and on Southern Boulevard in the western part of the county. Slow down and watch for possible standing water. Spot something on the roads, call the traffic tip line, pound 250 keyword West Palm traffic on the roads.
Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. Get cool summer vibes in the poker room at PBKC with high hands every 15 minutes, every day. Plus a $15,000 cash giveaway and the $100,000 progressive weekends. Grab your friends and check out the $10 poker party on Friday, June 27th. It's a great way for new players to experience tournament play. Bet small and win big with table games like Ultimate Texas Hold'em or 3-card poker with just a $5 minimum all day, every day. For more info, go to pbkennelclub.com.
When you need lab work, don't waste hours and hours waiting at the doctor's office or one of those big labs. Go to any lab test now of Boca and any lab test now of Coral Springs. Their prices are guaranteed to be the lowest you'll find anywhere. No appointment, doctor's order, or prescription is needed, and you're in and out in 15 minutes or less. They offer every lab and blood work your doctor could order. They even have drug testing and STD testing. Take control of your health care and visit any lab test now of Boca and any lab test now of Coral Springs. There's lots of any lab test nows around, but these are the only two advertising on our radio station. So don't use the rest. Only go to any lab test now of Boca and any lab test now of Coral Springs. And make sure you tell them you heard about them on the radio.
This is Steve Kane. I want to tell you about my favorite restaurant in all of South Florida, Wings Plus in Coral Springs. Wings just the way you like them. Plump, tender, and delicious, crispy on the outside, succulent on the inside. Everything's homemade. Nothing comes out of a can. Dozens of specialty sauces that will make your mouth water. Wings Plus, located in Coral Springs, a mile west of University on the south side of Central Road.
Hello, this is Wilkerson from Friendly Tire. I've been in business for 30 years at the same location and offering great deals on new and used tires. I have many suppliers. Whatever kind of truck you have, I can get you incredible deals on any tire. I also do tire repairs at very low prices. Give me a call. My number is 954-977-9445. I will give you a price over the phone on new and used tires. Again, my number is 954-977-9445. Thank you.
On the air since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
All right, the third hour has begun. Our number, 888-465-2631. I want to share this. I didn't play this in the first hour when I brought this up. I was talking about this communist Muslim guy that just won the Democrat primary in New York City. And let me tell you, this is bad news. I mean, this is one of the worst stories of an election defeat that I've ever heard, and I know it's among two Democrats. Okay, this race in New York City is a three-way race. The Democrat is this Zohran Muslim communist as the Democrat. Mayor Adams is the independent running for re-election who's got a lot of scandal going on. And then Curtis Sliwa, who's a joke, is running as the Republican. And that doesn't mean he's not a nice guy, and he's done a lot of good things, but he's not going to get elected dog catcher in New York City. Okay? It's just not going to happen. He used to be a big deal, and now he's kind of like a joke. Right? I mean, that's just sadly what he's become. So it's hopeless. And a couple of days ago, the Cuomo campaign started to get really nervous because they saw the polling and they knew they were losing, and they tried to cause a panic among Democrats to turn out and vote for Cuomo, but they did it too soon. The first thing they did is they released a poll that showed Cuomo behind 4 points. I believe Cuomo's team released that because he really lost. I don't know by how many points this is, but he lost by about 70,000 votes. A lot of people vote in New York City. It's a big city. So I don't know if that'd be 4 points or not, but 70,000 is a big loss that Cuomo suffered. And he put out a poll that showed him losing, but pretty much within the margin of error. So to put out a poll that shows you losing, but not by that much, within the margin of error, I think Cuomo did that as a panic. And then they started saying he'll turn New York City into London. And that's a very politically correct way of saying that he is a religious Muslim, an activist Muslim, a radical Muslim, and he's going to Islamify the city of New York. And that is true, okay? He's from Uganda. He says he's a Democrat socialist. I believe the same people are running his campaign that ran AOC's because of the style of it. It has a signature that looks like her campaign. I'm talking about it's a 100% social media campaign. The videos and images I've seen of him, artists have styles, right? And a lot of times, like I get a lot of hate mail from people. I don't know if I should reveal this, but hate mail could be, sometimes it's in written. A listener sent me a letter today, not hate mail, very nice letter that a lady sent. Patrice in Palm Beach. But people send me emails and DMs and stuff that say nasty things. And a lot of times it's the same people, and no matter what name they sign to it, I can tell who it is because they have a signature with their writing style, right? They use the same insults or same things and stuff like that. And the same goes for people that create these, the political campaign online ads for Zohran in New York. It's the same style as the people who created AOC's ad in her first run. It's the same editing style. It's the same type of campaign. The graphics that I've seen are this. It's pretty much the same. It's the same people. And her campaign was pretty successful. So these are people that know what they're doing. These are high-level political campaign people that are working on Zohran. And I'm here to tell you that he is the favorite to become the mayor of New York by far. And he's bad news. In the first hour, I went over his bio, and he believes all the woke liberal stuff that's in fashion these days. Underage children should be able to have sex change operations without parental consent. It's amazing to me. There used to be the slippery slope of how things happen. Abortion's a settled issue because Roe v. Wade was overturned, right? Pretty much settled issue in the country. But when it wasn't, Republicans we had lost so much ground on abortion. We were not even, Republicans, I remember here in Florida, there was a big fight over something with abortion. I can't remember what the exact issue was, but Republicans were trying to get passed into law parental notification when children were getting abortions. Parental notification. Not parental permission. Parental notification. So your underage daughter, she's 13, she's been impregnated by some 25-year-old statutory rapist, right? She's at the abortion clinic. They call mom and dad and say, oh, your 13, 14-year-old daughter's here getting an abortion. You've been notified. Democrats were fighting against that because they'd already won the permission. And what was crazy about that, even still today in the state of Florida, if you're underage, you cannot legally get a tattoo or your ears pierced if you're underage. But you could go out and get an abortion, is the way it worked. Isn't that crazy? Without parental permission? That's crazy, right? And the reason you can't make any deals with Democrats or any concession to Democrats is because they're never satisfied. They always want more, right? So what this Zohran is advocating for, and this, if it's not already the law in New York, it will be. And if it's against federal law, he doesn't care. They want underage kids to be able to get sex change operations. Now, that's god-awful because you're talking about irreversible decisions that are being made by children. Okay? That's the reason you need parental permission for that is many. I mean, you don't get any, if you're at school and a teacher gives a child an aspirin without written permission from the parents, that teacher can get jammed up and lose their entire teaching career. But that same child you can't give an aspirin to can go out and have a life-altering transformational surgery that's irreversible without you giving permission or being notified. That's crazy. That's what Zohan's advocating for. But what he's got going for him, other than this, he's got the best political campaign you could have. His political campaigners are the top people in the world. I'm telling you, you go and look at his campaign stuff, and he won by over 70,000 votes, not just because Democrats are stupid in New York and gave him the primary victory. That's true. I mean, they're stupid. But the campaign is being run by the top political campaigners on the planet because, New York City is where Iran and the Islamists are attacking us at Columbia. All these things they're doing at Columbia. That guy, Mahmoud, that got out of prison, that flew to New York, right? Remember the Columbia organizer? If Zohran becomes the mayor, Mahmoud is going to have a senior position on his staff. I'm telling you. It's the same people behind them both. And Zohan's dad is a professor at Columbia. This is a major, major attack on our country that's going on. And we're fighting these people in all kinds of ways these days. And people are talking about, Pam Bondi, about all these sleeper cells that Iran got in under Biden. I'm here to tell you that the sleeper cells are not necessarily armed militant terrorists that go around and blow stuff up. They're college professors, college club leaders, college students, mayoral candidates. Some of them are in Congress and running for Congress. Don't you understand? Those are the sleeper cells. It's a new thing they're waging, and they're doing it in a very smart way. And you've got a bunch of useful idiots like Governor Cuomo who's endorsed this guy last night after he lost to him. I want to play this clip. This is an interview he did with one of these jerks from MSNBC talking about Netanyahu.
Mayor Mamdani, will you welcome Prime Minister Netanyahu to New York City for whatever he comes for, given the US is not a signatory to the ICC, so he can travel to the US, unlike a lot of other countries. Will the mayor Mamdani welcome Benjamin Netanyahu to the city?
No. As mayor, New York City would arrest Benjamin Netanyahu. This is a city that our values are in line with international law. It's time that our actions are also.
Even though the US is not a signatory to the ICC?
No, it's time that we actually step up and make clear what we are willing to do to showcase the leadership that is sorely missing in the federal administration.
Okay, so he will arrest the Prime Minister of Israel if he comes to New York City. Now, I don't know how it works in New York City, but does the mayor have authority over the police to have them arrest someone here who's on a diplomatic mission? This is news to me. The sleeper cells are different than they used to be. And I know everybody wants to praise Pam Bondi because she said this thing. I'm telling you, there's only one way to save ourselves. If we lose New York City, the country is gone. It is gone. Being mayor of New York City is a bigger deal than being the governor of most every state. There's some exceptions. I would say being the mayor of New York City is the equivalent of being the governor of California. It's a big deal. It is a big deal. The mayor of New York City is a more high-profile, important post than being the governor of New York State. And he is going to win. Unless we come together and back Mayor Adams. Mayor Adams is our only hope. He's running for re-election. He's got a lot of scandal behind him, and he's running as an independent, which is a problem. But Zohran here, he has the top political campaigners on the planet working for him, crafting a campaign that he just beat the Democrat Party machine with, and he's promising everyone free everything. And that's not an exaggeration. So that's all we can do. And back Mayor, I know it seems nuts to back Mayor Adams, but what are we going to do? Back Curtis Sliwa, who's going to lose? No, that's a, you know, and I'm gonna pay attention to Curtis Sliwa and find out, is he just a narcissist who wears that red beret and everything so people recognize him on the streets? If you saw him on the streets without the red beret and the red jacket, you wouldn't even know who he was. Right? But Curtis Sliwa, Governor Cuomo, whatever Republicans we have there need to come together and back Adams. This guy's going to win right now if we don't do it. All right. Let's take our break. Our number 1-888-465-2631. Before we do, though, I want to talk about the free doorbell camera offer from Sloman's. And, you know, this is a great gift for your mom, your dad, your grandma, and grandpa, too. I'm telling you, it is such a great thing. You know, of course, it's part of your security system at home, and you can get a free doorbell camera from Sloman's with the installation of your Sloman Shield. But everyone, I don't care how old they are, has their smartphone with them no matter where they are, okay? Imagine getting a notification whenever there's movement at your door and you can see who's there, right? You know, my camera saves me so much hassle. I don't answer the door for people, okay? I just don't. It's very dangerous to answer the doors for people when you don't know who's there. And no matter where I am, whether I'm here at the radio station or I'm in my backyard or doing something, I get it, or on one of our cruises or on I-95, I get a notification, I can see who's there. And I don't have to be bothered to get up to check. Yeah, I got a peep. You can't see, you want to get up and look through the peephole? I want to take the blind and look out the window and then they see your home. And my wife, who's disabled, it's great for her because it's difficult for her to get up to see who's at the door. She doesn't have to. You can get a doorbell camera for free from Sloman's with the installation of your Sloman Shield. They're also going to give you, that's amazing, a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. You get an LED touchscreen, a motion detector, 10 contacts, a lifetime warranty, and a backup battery. Plus, you'll receive a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield. Give them a call, toll-free, 833-283-5050. 833-283-5050. That's 833-283-5050. We'll be right back.
Don't sit on the... Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-GO-KANE-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
When it's time to check in with Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group, I just want to tell those of you in the audience how we met Attorney Barry Siegel years ago. What Barry is talking about here is having your documents reviewed, which the Siegel Law Group will do at no charge. Dave had found he had a revocable living trust done many years before we
Siegel, and found that Steve's trustee was no longer living. Steve had had a whole bunch of grandchildren born that had not even been conceived when he had that trust done, and there were some divorces that took place and remarriages and everything. What would have happened with Steve Kane's family if he passed away and his trustee was dead and all these people were cut out because they weren't even alive when he put the trust together?
It would have been a mess, first of all. And any issues with the beneficiaries, that would just be a total mess there. So yeah, I mean, that's why it's so important to review your estate plan, because you may have done something that made total sense years ago, but then things change. In this case, many things, including the trustee who was no longer living, and there's only one trustee.
Oof. It's not unusual, Attorney Barry Siegel, for ex-spouses to inherit, even when someone maybe even remarried, because people don't update these documents. That happens quite often, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, and that can happen in a couple of different circumstances. One, we see this sometimes where people don't even realize that their ex-spouse is their named beneficiary in their documents. They need to change that. And then, of course, the whole issue with the ex-spouses of our beneficiaries and the importance of having bloodline protection in your documents so that your assets don't end up going to your child's future ex-spouse.
Give Attorney Barry Siegel a call, toll free, 855 FLA 3782. 855 FLA 3782.
Do you suffer from neuropathy? I did, until I went to Lighthouse Medical Center in Pompano. Numbness, pain, burning, tingling in my hands and feet, muscle weakness, loss of balance, muscle twitching have all but disappeared. Say goodbye to your neuropathy symptoms. Call Lighthouse Medical Center for a free consultation. 754-222-6642.
Are you tossing and turning every night? That means you're not sleeping on a MyPillow. Brian Craig here. You've heard me talk about the MyPillow for years, and if you haven't tried it yet, what are you waiting for? You spend a third of your life sleeping. Do it right and order your MyPillow. Right now, they're just $17.98 with our promo code KANE at checkout. KANE at MyPillow.com. At this low price, you can afford to get a MyPillow for every bed in your home. You can also order by phone. 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Take advantage of these low prices and stock up right now.
This is Mark Laporta, son of Tom Laporta, and proud second-generation owner of Laporta Roofing. As a military veteran who served in the Army after 9/11, I've brought the same dedication and discipline to our family business. At Laporta Roofing, we've been serving our community for nearly 4 decades, and we're committed to continuing that legacy of excellence. Our team specializes in all types of roofing systems, from shingles to tile, slate, metal, and flat roofs. We're the go-to experts for single-family homes, HOA communities, and condo associations. What sets us apart is our unwavering commitment to customer satisfaction. I've personally implemented systems to ensure you receive the best in customer service and workmanship. Don't miss out on our limited time offer for a free roof inspection. Call us now at 954-604-4602 or visit us at LaportaRoofing.com. Trust the experts who have been protecting homes like yours for generations. Again, that number is 954-604-4602.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, hear us in Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the world at...
All right, we're back. I've covered a lot since 6. Let's go back to the phones. I'm really looking forward to driving through hurricane of the week here. I mean, it's not a hurricane, but it's pretty bad out there. I'm still hearing thunder. All right, let's go. Our number, 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Morning, Brian. It's JJ from Matt.
Hey, JJ.
You know, New York has a serious problem with this guy. This is Zohran. He's kind of like, he's like an IRGC. He's a Muslim theocratic dictator.
What he is, let me tell you what he is. He's just like these guys that they're picking up at Columbia. He's an infiltrator out to bring down the United States in a different way. I mean, this is there's no question about it. I mean, come on.
You talk about London. You know, London has fallen. I mean, look at the mayor of London, Sidney Connie. I mean, this is like a playbook. They're moving in here, and I really hope that New York doesn't fall
They did. He beat Governor Cuomo by 70,000 votes.
Correct. I know that, but I'm just hoping that intelligence gets the better of people on this one, and they realize what this is. I mean, socialism is like, this free strategy. Okay, this guy has this infinity stone wokeness power going on. Free, 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 free. Like, people haven't heard this before. You have to create that class of people that you need to give the free stuff to, and you do that by destroying everything. And that's what the Democrats have done. You create a class of poor, economic sort of a.
Yeah, but they don't. These people don't care. And I'm telling you, his entire campaign is an internet social media campaign. It is so sophisticated, and he's very good. Okay, if you see him, he's good. I said earlier, he's handsome on camera. He knows how to. He's kind of like President Kennedy. He knows how to use the camera. He's good on it, and he has the top people doing his campaign. He's going to win.
He is really.
Yes.
He's the perfect actor for it. And I really, like I'm saying, I just hope that Republicans realize that this is sort of the enemy of this guy. If he wins, it's going to become London. It's going to become more of a hellscape.
Well, yeah, that's correct. Now, a lot of people say, well, America's too big, but they get New York City. That's a big domino right there, New York City.
Fourth. That's a hell of a fourth to expand their insanity. But I can't see it.
This is bad. I got to tell you, this is so bad. It is all hands on deck here. And Curtis Lee was a joke as our Republican. It's a joke. So I don't want to hear anybody saying you're supporting corrupt Adams and not the Republican. He's a joke.
Yeah, we've got to get. We kind of have to. This is sort of like we joined up. This is World War II. The United States joins up with Russia to defeat the Nazis. This guy is the Nazi. We need to join. We need to join up, Republicans with the Democrat. We've got to defeat this guy because we can't let them get. We cannot let them get a foot. They got a foothold up.
Liberals are stupid. Listen, my wife has a cousin who lives in London. She's a big-time banker, and she's Canadian white girl. And the neighbor she lives in the same neighborhood as the Beckhams. Okay, and yeah, right. I know, different part of the family than we are, but she. But I want to point this out because she's an elitist, right? And there's all these Muslim stores in her neighborhood, and they're talking about Sharia law, and they're visiting in the United States, and we're saying, well, what about all this Sharia? Well, they're here now. They should have their own laws. I'm like, what the hell are you talking? What do you mean they should have their own laws? That's liberal. But the reason I point out her success is not to brag that I got a rich relative that I'm not even really related to. It's a cousin of my wife. Is that this is a rich, successful person who is highly educated, and she'll be wearing a and she'll be wearing a burqa in 5 years with pride. And now you get these uneducated fools in New York City. I'm going to have free everything forever with Zohran. Come on, it's a done deal. Adams is our own. It can be won with Adams if the right campaign is launched.
Yeah, it's got this guy. He has to be defeated.
Where I want to know where the firefighters union is on this. Do they endorse it in mayoral races? I mean, how many firefighters did they lose on 9/11 in the NYPD? Yeah.
Earlier in the show, could you imagine me saying this back after 9/11?
Oh,
Brian, we would have. You talk about Baker Act. You would have been in an insane asylum.
Yes.
15 minutes.
Ah.
They would have just come and wrapped you up and taken you away. I can't believe that New York.
It happened last night. But but it can be. We can overcome it. Maybe. All right. Take care. Appreciate the call. I'll take one more before the break. I probably shouldn't, but I'm going to. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, Nate from Harlem.
Yes, Renee.
Yeah, you guys want to organize a cross burning and maybe start getting some Klansmen start going after.
I don't understand what you're talking about.
Well, of course you have no idea of a lot of things. You still are stuck on 1965. You don't even know what they were.
Yeah, well, I look forward to hearing your calls in the future when we get interrupted by the call to prayer in the background from while you're in Harlem.
Oh, the replacement theory really got you shook, doesn't it?
See what I mean about the Democrats in New York City? You vote in the mayoral race. Did you vote yesterday in the primary? Did you vote in the primary yesterday, Renee?
Florida, stay down there.
Did you vote in the primary yesterday?
I voted for Mr. Mamdani.
You voted for Zohran. Okay.
Say his name right, stupid.
I am saying it right, Zohran. Yeah.
His name is Zohran.
Zohran.
No, stupid.
Are you not? Who's stupid here? Don't you understand the ridicule? Zohran is that movie about the Israeli hairdresser? Don't you? I mean, don't you understand why I'm saying his name that way? It's a bit. Hey, here we go. Here we go, New Yorker. I know how to say his name. I'm saying it how I choose to. Thanks for the call. We're late for the break. We'll be right back.
Making morning radio great again. I think you're gonna really love it. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Oh boy. Hey, how's it going?
Good, man. How's it going?
Good. I didn't know if you'd make it with the weather.
Oh, yeah. So the last time, man, it's just been one thing after another.
Oh, yeah. Do you have anything in particular you want me to bring up?
Well, you were talking about annuities during the war.
Okay, and I got one other thing I'll surprise you with.
Cool.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. By the way, I've seen that guy on TV.
The guy running from they're.
It's pretty scary.
He's gonna win.
Sick.
He's gonna win.
How did my aunt lives in Long Island, New York. Total Democrat, and meanwhile, all of her sons have moved to South Carolina. Oh, I thought you gave me a hat. I've seen my son hat. Thank you. And they've all moved down to South.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, except her.
You know, if you want me to guest on your show again, just let me know. I'll do it again.
Wonderful.
Anytime. I don't want to invite myself, but if you want me on, let me on.
No, that's all good. Yeah, definitely.
What I'll do is I'll do a little vlog that day on YouTube, and I'll film a little bit of it, make it part of the vlog.
Cool. Yeah. Listen, anything you want to do.
No, anytime. Just let me know when, and you tell Mike. He'll tell me what day you're going to record.
Yeah. Are you going to be here Thursday?
You coming in Thursday?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll be here Thursday then.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Cool. Yeah, I'll talk to you.
Yeah.
Oh, so Bruce.
That's what I was going to bring up. Bruce.
Nice guy, man. Him and his
Bruce.
Significant other, Gail. Nice people. Yeah. I get stuff like that. Guys pull up to me. Jupiter Joe. It's like, who the heck is that? I used to have a Jupiter Joe sign in the back of the car, so people would just actually get to the light.
Yeah.
And I thought the guy was trying to race me.
Yeah, I thought I'd cut him off or something. He was yelling at me. I was driving in Coral Springs. I heard Brian. I'm like, what did I?
Yeah, what did I do?
You know, because I didn't hear Brian. I heard yelling.
Yeah.
And when I realized who it was, I heard Brian. I was like, oh, I thought I'd cut him off, and it was road rage.
Yeah. I don't think you don't have. I'm sure you have enough material to speak about every week too.
Oh.
Never stops, right?
No. Oh. All right, we're back. Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig. Jupiter Joe Thomas in studio. Hey, Joe. One of our longtime listeners, Bruce, he messaged me. You mentioned him during the break. I wasn't going to say the name, but he said the name. And so, Bruce, you're out there. Bruce came to see you the other day, and did he tell you he had a beer with me?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course he told you. Yeah, he came to an appearance, and that Steve and I did a couple years back, and he took me to a Mexican restaurant and bought me some beers, and it was nice. It was on a Friday, so I didn't have to get up the next morning, so I had a few. But anyway, he messaged me off the air, and he came and met with you the other day about annuities, and he said that you already have made him thousands of dollars. He told me.
Yeah, he took advantage. He heard it on this program, the 10% bonus and the 8.25%. And he said to his significant other, "Why wouldn't we do this? This is a great deal." And I showed him how he could put 10% bonus on your money instantly.
Okay, now let's talk about that a little bit, okay? Because, you know, I told you, I've heard about annuities all my life, okay? And I never understood them until I met with you. We met here before we went on the air together, and I really didn't know what they were. You explained them to me, and at about 2 minutes, I'm like, why isn't everybody into this?
Right.
And this thing about this bonus, tell people that, this is what Bruce took advantage of. Tell people what that is, how it works, what is the bonus, and what the bonus is.
Right. On whatever deposit you make over $10,000, we're going to give you a 10% bonus.
That's great.
Day one, and then you can use it to for income later on. See, annuities are all about income. That's really what an annuity means. It's annual installments or annual payments, you know, from the Greco-Roman times, right? That's what annual means. So it's an income stream. So this bucket is there for future dollars. When you want to take income, it's going to come into you. And you get the bonus up front, 10%, and then they're giving you 8.25% every year you don't touch the account. So you're incented to wait. And the longer you wait, the more your money's going to be.
So what happens? Say, I'm just making up a number, but if I have $50,000, I come to you, I put it in an annuity, what's the bonus on that?
$5,000 up front.
Right, before I walk out of your office, I've made the $5,000?
That's what Bruce was excited about.
What the hell? I mean, what? What?
And then you're going to get 8.25% on the $55,000 that's sitting there.
Get out of town.
That's another $4,500 of interest.
That's amazing.
And then next year you get another $4,000 or $5,000 worth of interest. And then you can turn your income on, which will be about 7% for the rest of your life, Brian. 7% without market risk. Now the market's doing well. Let's talk about it right now. You know, all the things that Trump said he's going to do, he's doing, and the market is reacting. It's doing well. It's going to continue to do well. But take some of your profits out. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. You know, you heard your grandfather tell you this, your grandmother tell you this. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Put some of your money into safety. That's what this is about.
Well, the way that, and again, I'm not a financial advisor. Do not take any advice from me. That's what Joe Thomas is about. And you offer free phone consultations that people can take advantage of no matter where they are in the United States. So call him for your advice. But here's how I look at it. You know, I was just looking yesterday. My daughter moved back to Florida from California, which was great.
Right.
We went out for hamburgers for lunch, and it was $25. She said in LA this would have been $65.
Oh my God.
I couldn't believe that's why she's back, in Florida. But anyway, I was looking at condos, and you can get some good deals on condos right now. But look what the HOA fees are. They're through the roof, and real estate used to be a really good investment in Florida, and I knew people that would buy some condos to rent them and have that revenue stream. But you see what's going on with the real estate market in Florida. With annuities, your money is not at risk.
No,
you know, your money's solid. You don't have to worry about it going up and down like the stock market, up and down like real estate. You don't have the renters to deal with or those HOAs, and you got this bonus. I don't understand why everyone's not in annuity. I know diversification, and I like sure things.
You have to know about it, you know, and that's what this program does. It's information and education. People are educated about it, and you give them information. You know, you also mentioned something which was really important the other day. I was listening to the show, of course, and you were talking about are annuities covered in wartime?
Yeah.
And they are. Once you turn your income stream, it's guaranteed. They use the word guaranteed. Very few things in life I know of are guaranteed. Death and taxes and annuities, you know.
Well, what you said about the market's doing well, that's true. And oil was down the other day, even after this Iran attack. But it's going to go back down at some point, okay? And, you know, when you are retired, you're not out in the workforce. Even people that are high net worth people, you're not generating the income to replace that, or you don't have the time to wait for the next cycle or two, right?
Well, if you have a lot of money, you're diversifying with some stocks and some bonds, and that's what a lot of the wealthy people do, right? I've done this my whole life. But some people have learned that bonds don't go up when interest rates are this and that. So what now people are doing is they're putting their money in the stock market and annuities to have that level of protection. They want the 60-40 or the 50-50 split.
Yeah, and listen, when it comes to annuities, you don't have to be a rich person to get involved. When you call Joe Thomas, he'll talk to you about this. But I think a lot of people are surprised that are maybe middle class people that are fixed income people that even they are at the point where at their income level they can take advantage of annuities.
Yeah, I mean, most of our clients are starting with $10,000 or $20,000, and some put $100,000, $200,000. It just depends on your level of it.
Hey,
and
and there's one other thing I want to ask you about before you go, because to me this is massive, and I was looking for it because I made a note about this to ask you. What's about this income doubler with the health issue? This is insane.
So I have a client this morning that's coming in. He's 77 years of age, and bottom line is, I don't know if you know this, but you talk to Barry Siegel about it all the time. Healthcare is expensive. You go in a nursing home or home healthcare situation, it could cost you $10,000, $20,000 a month. Literally, in South Florida, it's like the average is $12,000 a month. So our annuities have an income doubler. If you get sick, you can't perform 2 of your daily activities, they will double your income. So let's say you're getting $3,000 a month. You get sick, you get a doctor's note, can't perform 2 of your daily activities. They're going to double your income to $6,000 a month. If you're getting $6,000, it's $12,000 a month.
With the doctor's note, I like that. So what happens? My annuity, it's my wife and me on it. I get sick, my wife doesn't. What happens?
You're both covered.
Oh, so the doubles. It doesn't matter which one of us falls ill.
You're going to get it. Yep, it's a lifetime income, and the doubler works for both of you.
Listen.
There's a lot of benefits that people just don't know about.
You know, I think one of the things, because, listen, you hear people talk about annuities, and I've heard them forever, but you got a way of explaining them that is for a layman like me that knows nothing about these things, to understand it. And I know Bruce that went to you, he's a long-time listener. He goes to all our appearances and everything, so I've met him many, many times. And he's a regular working guy. He's not some rich guy who's playing at the PGA over here or Trump National. He's a
regular guy, and most of my clients are regular.
He's a working class guy who's worked very hard for his money. And let me tell you, when he contacted me off the air, he's telling everybody in the world that he walked out making money. Give Joe Thomas a call. Now listen, you can take advantage of this no-charge phone consultation no matter where you're located, and Joe's going to put together a custom proposal based on you and your situation and your income level and your goals and all of that. It's very personalized. 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. And online, JupiterJoe.com. If you missed the number, JupiterJoe.com. All right, Joe, we'll see you later in the week. All right, take care, and that's pretty awesome stuff. And, Bruce, you can buy me a beer anytime, Bruce. All right, let's go back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hey, Brian, what's up?
Hey, Brian, how are you? Well, we got another, I call it an inflection point with this mayoral race in New York. If we look, we won the big prize, with the White House and that, but we're starting to look, this mayoral at that level, if you look at Los Angeles, and you look at Chicago, and you look at New York now, this would be a major problem. If people think they had trouble with the mayor in L.A., they will have, this is nothing compared to what they had with this guy in New York. What I'm wondering about, where are all the powerful Jewish groups like the Anti-Defamation League and JDL and all that?
Oh, please. They're with the Ghazians. Let me tell you what I didn't follow this race too closely, and we got Trump to focus on, and there's a lot going on. But this guy, he's got the Columbia. His father is a post-colonial studies professor at Columbia University, which is the center of all the Iranian spies. This guy Mahmoud that just got out of prison was the organizer at Columbia. So this is what you got with this guy. He's just very cleaned up. He's almost Americanized. He's got a bit of his accent, but this right now he's winning. It's not even going to be close. And
he's a media guy, but he's good on television.
He's very good. And that's a problem. Okay, and that's all you need to be to win. And you heard Renee from Harlem's excited that he voted for this guy.
Boy, so we're saying that if the Prime Minister of Israel had to do an address to the United Nations or something, or anything in New York, that he could be arrested.
Well, what about the other Jews in New York? I mean, and I'm telling you that the NYPD and the fire department of New York City, with their never forget imagery on all of their fire trucks, they're probably going to endorse this guy. I'm telling you.
God. Oh my God.
Well, I tell you, they're making big inroads. Look at on the coast, L.A. and New York. The two radicalized. This is radicalized on steroids.
And I'm telling you guys, after 9 o'clock, do nothing till after 9 o'clock. But after 9 o'clock, other than listen to me, go and look up some of his campaign stuff. When I tell you, he's got AOC's people with him, and if you noticed, AOC escorted Mahmoud back to New York from and so she's in bed with Zohran here. And go back and look at his online advertising, and you will see what I mean. He has the top political campaign people on the planet. I'm not exaggerating, working for him, because if New York City falls, that's their inroad into all of the United States.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It would be a disaster, but the guy who's going to run this is the current mayor. I mean, you got to go with him, but he's no.
He's got a lot of problems, and look, we got Renee from Harlem's not going to vote for the black guy. He's going to vote for this guy, right? So Mayor Adams. I mean, but if people would not be politically correct and talk about it like I'm talking about it today, okay? And what I mean is, if I were going to do this, what I would do is I would find that Robert De Niro 9/11 documentary that the French film crew made, which is in, have you ever seen it?
Actually, quite.
It was a documentary crew following these firefighters for a year, and they just coincidentally were with them on 9/11, and they went inside the building with them, and the building collapsed, and the firefighters were killed. It's a very powerful documentary. Find their children that are currently on the New York City Fire Department. I promise you, their children are firefighters and police officers of people who died on 9/11, and go interview them about Zohran. You'll find some of them that are got some half a lick of sense. Listen, I gotta run. Callers on hold, stand by. Let's check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated with the Morning Gold and Precious Metals Report. William, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. How are you doing, Brian?
I'm doing great. What do you have for us today?
Pretty much slightly lower today after the big losses we saw yesterday on gold trading in a range of $3,294
Do we have a break?
on the low.
Do we have to break?
To a $33.71 high. Closing out the day down $45.05.
Do we have spots after this?
$3,322.90. Gold still staying above the $3,300 number, but we did dip below there momentarily yesterday, but we're still finding good support around $3,300. And silver, $35.85 closing yesterday, down 18 cents. Platinum was up $25 at $1,318. And palladium was down $9 at $1,066. Overnight, we saw gold trade in a range of $3,319 up to $3,336. And right now, we're at $3,320, down $2.90. Silver down 15 cents at $35.70 the ounce. Platinum $1,310, down $8, and palladium down $24 at $1,042. So again, still trading in our rate, but at the lower end of the range is giving us a little opportunity now. Take advantage of the markets while we're still maybe a couple $100 below the highs, and that's about.
Yeah, I mean, we're at over $3,300 for an ounce of gold. That is absolutely amazing. And you want to take advantage to either get involved in the metals or increase your position with every little movement that's a buying opportunity like this. Give William Youngerman a call. He opens up at 10 a.m. His number is toll-free, 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010, or stop by. And when you stop by, remember, all the metals are available for immediate delivery at William Youngerman's. 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca, on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. And you can find both his address and phone number on his website, williamyoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we'll touch base tomorrow. All right, take care. All right, we are back. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Alex from Spokesman.
Yes, okay. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Yes. You're on the air.
From South Florida. Hello, can you hear me?
I can, Will.
Yeah, long-time caller, first-time listener.
No, you mean, wait, you mean, I think you got it backwards. Long-time listener, first-time caller. How can you be a long-time caller and a, oh, okay. Well, you know, if you have to say it's a joke, you know, it's you know. Anyway, go ahead.
So when you talk about this tone, when anybody references anything Jewish or Israel in their tone, since you're the tone police, what do you mean? What is in their tone?
I don't know what, give me a specific example of something I've said. I don't know what you're referencing. You're being very generic.
Well, no, it's not generic. You've had several callers, not today, but in the past, recently, where, especially this one older gentleman, where he was just talking about Israel. He just brought the word Israel up, and you just went right into him about his tone. He must be anti-Semitic.
You would have to, I don't know who or what you're talking about. I talk to a lot of people. You would have to give me a specific instance of something I said to somebody. I mean, I don't remember every little call. No, I'm not a Jew.
You're not Jewish. Okay.
No. Why was that, you know, what was that supposed to mean?
No, it was just a question.
Well, why'd you ask the question? If I would have said yes, if I said yes, what would your response have been?
I probably would have said, wow, that makes sense.
Oh, really? Okay. All right. What's that noise in the background? What's that beep? Is that your ankle monitor?
No, that is a security system, though.
A security system? Your question was, am I a Jew? What is this, 1933?
About the tone policing and why you tone police.
Well, there are, as an example, you got problems with the tone police. While I'm going to give you an example if you know. But while I'm going to give you the answer in the way that I want to do it. You may talk like a Nazi, but this is not Nazi Germany. Okay? And the example I'm going to, yeah, absolutely. And I'll give you the example of that. Hey, listen, I'm sure you don't mind. But while you're complaining about the tone police, there's a tone going off in the background of your call, which is quite bizarre. But what I said was Nazi-like from you is when you asked me if I'm a Jew. The last time I heard that on this show, we had in studio a guy from, this was right after 9/11. We had a Muslim spokesperson in, and we had them in studio with Steve, who is a Jew, and an old friend of mine named Joe Kaufman. And he's, yeah, and this Muslim spokesperson said to Steve and Joe Kaufman, he said to Steve, "Are you a Jew?" And he says, "Yeah." And this was during a break. And then he says, "What does that mean?" He says, "I'm a Jew, Joe Kaufman." And he says, "You're a Jew too?" And he started laughing. This Islamic spokesperson. This was like a month after 9/11. That was the last time I heard, it was an evil laugh. And that's the last time I heard someone ask, "Are you a Jew?" I mean, that's just a bizarre, yeah, you did. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. No, we're done with you. You can talk about Steve when he's here. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
You're not going to take my call, it's Alex.
We'll see. Do you got any material that
Mr. Mamdani win. I think our founding fathers like Jefferson would be very pleased to see a well-educated Muslim. Slow down a second. Why would Thomas Jefferson be happy that this guy won the Democrat primary in New York? Well, because he was accepting Muslims.
What makes you say, see, I know what you're referencing, but you don't know the context. What makes you say that Thomas Jefferson was respectful and honored Muslims? Why do you say that? I know where this comes from. No, he had. I'll give you the correct thing. You don't even know your own rhetoric. He kept a Quran.
Well, now, hold on a second. When he was president, oh my God, did I hit the dump button just to be safe? Just to be safe on that? Because I think that was he used the, okay. Unfortunately, he used language I had to disconnect and dump, okay? He doesn't know the root of his stupid talking point. Thomas Jefferson respected Muslims. The legend goes he had a copy of the Holy Quran with him when he was president, okay? And this is something that I've heard a couple times, actually, in the last few days because of Zohran in New York. The reason he had the Quran is because of the Barbary pirates were attacking U.S. ships in the Mediterranean when he was president. Okay? And the Barbary pirates were Muslims. And we didn't have a CIA, NSA. No one knew anything about Muslims because, you know, the early 1800s here, and Thomas Jefferson was trying to learn about the Muslim Barbary pirates. Remember the shores of from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli. We'll fight our country's battles on the land, on air, and sea. Marine Corps hymn. The shores of Tripoli is from the Muslim Barbary pirates that Thomas Jefferson sent the Marine Corps to Libya to fight them off from taking these U.S. ships. So he was trying to learn about the Muslims, because no one knew about Muslims back then, and he had a copy of the Quran, Thomas Jefferson, when he was president. And what these people have done is taken this Quran that and say, oh, look, he honored them. No, he was trying to learn who they are, and what they believe. It's really amazing. The guy didn't even know the root of his own talking point. Now, I want to tell you the root of me looking great today. I mean, you know, I got a coastal weight loss secret. There's a family event coming up that I have that I wouldn't say it's a family reunion, but there's family members I haven't seen, some of them for over 20 years. And I got a couple things coming up over this weekend. It's this weekend. I got a couple things coming up, including I got invited to a big fancy MAGA thing that I'm not telling you guys about with some very high up MAGA people. I don't usually do the dropping, but you know, and they're a pretty big deal. And I'm thinking, and I told I said, I don't know, you know, you go to these family things and it's basically an interview, right? And I really don't enjoy that kind of thing because with social media, you ever try to have a conversation with someone? Everybody knows everything. Oh, yeah, I know. I saw that on Facebook or something else. And my wife said, go, you haven't seen some of these people in 20 years. You look great with all this weight you lost. I said, you know what? I do. Maybe I'll go. Instead of meeting the big-time MAGA Republican people that I'm referencing, that I'm not going to tell you who they are, maybe I'll go and show off my incredible weight loss, thanks to Coastal Weight Loss Secret. Listen, give Coastal Weight Loss Secret a call. They've got an incredible special going on. They're calling it the July 4th special, but it's on now. And it ends July 7th. And it's 20% off for new clients. Here's the number, 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. Make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel when you call, all right? And online, coastalweightlosssecret.com. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? No, one call per day, okay? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
All I can say is we dodged a bullet when we didn't get going. He's basically, we would have had one of those. As that guy,
You're talking about the guy that ran for governor against DeSantis? Yeah, but that was like 8 years ago. I mean, 6 years ago. We got to get with the now. I mean, we got bigger problems now.
We're red. We're very red. New York, between New York and California, Jesus, I'll never visit those two states.
But you don't understand. Being the mayor of New York City is America's greatest city, but it's also the hub of the planet Earth and Western civilization. It is. Okay, that's why Al-Qaeda hit it. Oh, there we go. Oh, my goodness. Last call of the day, we had to hit the dump button. Oh, my goodness.
We went all day without using the dump button, and then with 2 of the last 3 callers, we had to engage the dump button with the language. I don't understand, guys. I mean, what's with all the profanities? My goodness. Well, listen, that is all the time we have for today. Today's Wednesday, right? All right. Oh, man. And tomorrow's Thursday. And then Friday. And then the weekend. No, we'll be back tomorrow. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. On the radio since 1977. Looks like the rains have cleared from Palm Beach Gardens. I don't know what direction they've gone in, but I'll find out if they've gone the direction I want to be driving in when I leave the radio station. The Steve Kane Radio Show has been on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio, and in August, it'll be 49. Imagine in just over a year, it's going to be 50 years the Steve Kane Show has been on the radio. Is that not amazing? That's a long, long time. My name is Brian Craig. We will see you tomorrow at 6 a.m. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. And tomorrow, I've got more on Zohran. I'm going to be covering this through the entire campaign. It's that important. All right, take care. God bless Donald Trump. All right, guys, listen. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, all right? Thanks for watching, everyone. I will see you later. Take care.